So uncivilized.
Greetings and welcome to Uncivilized Scoundrels with Slayle Rockwell, and I'm so excited with my co-host Mario here. And man, it's going to be an incredible discussion tonight, man. I'm so happy. We got a couple of special guests with the usual suspects in the building, and I'm happy to have them here, man. And it's going to be a lot to unload tonight, but I'm so happy about it. We got an amazing episode with episode 6 of the Book of Boba Fett. Was it divisive or was it on point? We don't know. We'll discuss it tonight. It should be an incredible discussion. So glad to have everybody here, everybody who's tuning in. We just actually got off of Brother Cousin's show. So that was amazing. If you haven't watched that, if you haven't subscribed to him, you want to do that now. Shout out to my guy Anthony from Six Scale Mafia. He finally reached 1,000 subs. So great to basically see that it happened. You know what I mean? He definitely did. But yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight, man. And I'm so glad to have this panel. So I'm just going to actually bring everybody in. How is everybody going tonight? How y'all doing?
Y'all
good?
Good. Feeling good.
Yes. Man. So excited to have everybody here. We got a full panel. And like I said, I mean, I like that it's kind of even. We got the ladies. Well, not even. We got the ladies taking over tonight, but it's just how it should be.
We're always outnumbered.
This is how it should be done. You know what I mean? Always. So, it's going to be a ladies first affair, but I love that. I love that we got this exchange. So yeah, first off, I'm just going to actually introduce the special guests tonight. We have the one and only Latoya T, the love of my life in the building. How are you, baby?
What's up, Toya?
Great. Happy to be here as always.
Oh man. Okay, good. You ready for the discussion?
Great to see Toya here.
I'm definitely ready. I'm just ready to be amongst the greats here, the usual suspects, and you see everybody in the chat. Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Ready.
I'm pretty sure everybody's excited. And we also have, come on, man, Victoria's Cantina. Victoria is in the building. It is so good to actually have you on tonight's show. You were gracious enough to come through and bless us all with your presence. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Leo, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. It's
really
looking forward to this discussion. It's been watching you for some time now. And
thank you so much. I'm so glad to have you here. And come on, man, it wouldn't be a party without the panel, without the usual suspects. We got CC3PO in the building. Come on, you know what time it is, man. How are you, CC? How you doing this week?
It's been a long week. It's only Thursday, but it's been a long week. But I'm so excited to talk Star Wars, and I'm so happy that we have people like Latoya and Victoria here to talk about this episode. You picked a cracker of an episode to talk about.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
We got so much to kind of unwind and just unravel and stuff like that. How are you? How you doing today? I see you Star Wars out and you ready to go. How are you today?
I am wonderful. I'm so happy to be here with you all talking about Star Wars tonight.
Oh man, crazy. You know what time it is. It's always a great discussion. My guy, the one and only, Vinny with the room, Vincent Dunn Art. What's going on with you, brother? How are you?
Man, I'm excited to talk about Star Wars tonight. Had a good week, relaxing week, chill week, and just been doing a lot of just art, catching up on reading, and rewatching episode 6 a few times. So that's been my week. So I'm hyped to vocalize and get it out there and just chop it up.
Wait a minute. Let me see the shirt, bro. What's the shirt?
This is Shogun Assassin.
And there's a lot to go. Yes.
The episode we will talk about how this movie
relates to that.
To this episode.
Oh,
this is in one of my top films of
really
all
cool.
time. Shogun Assassin, the Japanese version is Lone Wolf and Cub, where there were 6 movies, but most people know the ported version, Shogun Assassin, that if you're a hip-hop fan, you've heard all throughout Jizza's first album. So we will get into why I'm wearing this tonight very soon. I'm sure you can probably get a hint from
Yeah.
And real
text,
quick,
but-
though, I want to unveil something because Vinny was gracious enough to bless us with the piece, one of his new pieces, and this is basically exclusively for the show tonight. And I am so happy to base. And it's like, yo, he did this. It's almost like he did this specifically for me, but I know he did this for everybody.
I
And
knew,
you're ready
but
for this?
I knew how big a fan of her you were. So I was like, I want
Yes.
to do so many characters from the show, and I know who I can't not do, and it's
Yeah.
this.
Exactly. Come on, look at that. We got Finnick in the building. Come on, man. Look at that piece.
Finnick's-
Wow.
That
Vinny.
is amazing. Like, that is an amazing
That is
piece.
Thank you.
I am so happy about this piece, man. Come on, man. That Finnick is
Yeah, I
incredible.
I told Leo that I was working on one that he'd be particularly interested in. I had to throw his way, so I'm definitely going to
Yeah.
get him a print of this one. I know
Oh,
that's his girl, and I know that as I've been watching this show, I've been inspired to draw so many different people from it. And
Yeah.
Fennec has such an amazing character. It's such an amazing character on the show, and such a great character design that I had to do one of hers. There's like, I mean, she's been one of my favorites on the show. I'm loving her, involvement, and I mean, no one is she's awesome. So I had to do a Fennec.
man, come on, man. Like that, it just sets it off. It's such an amazing piece. I mean, aesthetically, it looks great. And I like its originality. I like just basically it's an original piece, and that's what I kind of go for, man. So you definitely killed it on this piece,
Thank
man.
you. I appreciate y'all.
Did your thing,
Yes.
my man Mario. What's up with you, my guy, man? I'm so glad to have you here. What's going on with you, brother? How are you?
Oh man, I'm incredibly blessed to be here, man. I mean, amongst this panel, and I'm just happy to see everybody here. Happy to see everyone in the chat tonight. Carlos coming in hot right now with a super chat.
Whoa.
And yeah, look at this guy. And
So speaking of the super chat, can you read that off for me real quick, Mario? Just do us the honor. Read it off. Go ahead.
Yeah, the word.
okay. I'll try, bro. I mean, hola, Leo. No me puedo quedar porque tengo que trabajar. The book of Boba is muy mierda.
I was waiting for him just
Oh
to read it
my
in Spanish
God,
and not
mierda?
translate. And that's so
Mierda?
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pero este episodio está bien chingón, man.
There you go.
Mira
That's what I'm
nomás.
talking about. There you go.
Yo,
Come on, Carlos,
Carlos.
man. Thank you for the $49 super chat. $49.99 super chat. Let's round it up to $50.
Very generous.
Come on, man. Extremely generous, man. Thank you for that. And we actually had another super chat in here. $1.79 by Superhero Display. How did y'all get Rosario Dawson to appear? That's incredible, man. That's
Love it.
incredible. But yes, go ahead, Mario. Continue, man.
No, man. Just like I said, I'm feeling incredibly blessed to be here with everybody. Just talk about an amazing episode
Yes.
that we just received, and to be perfectly honest, I'm just happy to see Cece again.
Yes.
So yeah,
CC
great
in
to have
the
her back.
building. Come on, man. You know.
I know
CC
we
is
need to
always
catch up. I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever, even though
It's been a
I
while
literally
since
talked to you
we-
last night. But
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. That feels like a long time. It's been a minute. So
Definitely,
Yeah.
man. So glad to have everybody. Before we jump in, I do want to address the chat like I always do. We have William Owens in the building. Mark 7 is in the building. My guy. We gotta get Mark 7 on the building.
gotta get
Just-
Mark on.
We gotta get him on the show. And the thing is, listen, like Mark 7 is literally one of our best friends.
Marcus,
One of the smoothest, most mellow cats. Like
Mark's
he's
the homie.
a lyricist. Mark is that guy. But Mark, literally, I don't know why he's always funny to me, and he's just a real guy. He doesn't do anything to make you laugh, but you just when you look at him and you hear him talk, and it's just like
nah, it's Mr. Quotable.
he
He's
is,
a-
bro. He's a
Mr.
quotable.
Quotable.
He's just a walking quotable. That's all he is. But it's just I love him. That's the thing is that you can't help but love Mark. He's just that guy. We got Malachi McBain in the building. Is Juan, Mike Fiella, Christian Cosby, the Collector, Philip the Fool. We have William Owens. I said Tobar, Carlos, my guy. Thank you for coming through, man. Boxed in. How are you, man? Thank you for being Tobar. Let's see here. Derek Sandoval. Mike Fitzgerald, thank you for being here. Max Geekdom, my guy, thank you for basically being here. Craig Spencer, Luminar 843 is here. Superhero Displays, Philip the Fool. Let's see here. Chi Town Cylon, thank you for basically being here. Will Foxification, my guy, always thank you for basically being here, coming through. Mark P. We have Mary Sullivan. We have who else? Andrew Gibo. Thank you for basically being here tonight and joining in on the party. Brother from another Jedi. Thank you for being here. Love that name, man. Love that name.
I like that.
I love that. Pablo Meza, Simon. Let's see here. Who else we got? Did I cover pretty much everybody? Benny Gregerson. Thank you for basically being here. Let's see here. Spice Runner in the building. Thank you for being here. Jonathan Estrada. Thank you for being here. I keep asking you, are you related to Eric Estrada? Come on, man. You already know that. Chips all day, all day. One Punch Man is in the building. Tuka3, Philosopher King, Xander, Primetime Reviews. Let's see here. Chris Rodriguez, and the list goes on. So happy to have everybody here, man. Definitely happy to have everybody here. S Beam is in the building. And yes, we are ready to go. And the Bing Cave just came through. So thank you for coming through. Guys, we had a hell of an episode. Kay Carter, didn't want to miss you either, my guy. But we had a hell of an episode yesterday, man. Like literally, it was a lot to digest.
Yeah.
With that episode, it was phenomenal. It took us to a place that we didn't really expect. We knew that, with the last episode, Mando himself made the announcement, yes, I will join, but before I do, I have somebody I have to visit, and he's going to see the little guy. So we knew that was actually come up. Did we think it was going to come up so soon? I personally didn't. I didn't think it was going to happen with this episode, but it did. And it was so much to unpack, really. I'm going to start with you. I'm going to start with the newbies first. I'm going to start with Victoria first. This is a ladies event, or always said ladies before gentlemen, so ladies first. Victoria, what did you basically think about overall? Like, what did this episode, did it fulfill anything for you, or was it the unexpected? How did you feel about it?
I thought it was certainly a little unexpected in a few ways. Some of the characters that we saw, we've seen them before in Mandalorian, and when they showed up for the first time, that was hugely exciting. Mm-hmm. I didn't expect to see certain ones so quickly. Mm-hmm. And the diversion that we got in the last episode towards something totally unrelated seemed to continue for most of this episode. And I can't help but feel that there's a purpose behind that. It's not just to show, kids Grogu, that he's still out there. It's not just to show the Mandalorian. I feel like it's moving. Yeah. I think everything's going to connect at some point in this next episode. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was really solid. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, exciting times.
Definitely exciting times. Toya, we watched the show, like, how many times would you say we watched this show?
Oh my God, 3, 4 and a half, maybe.
Now I know I was up at like 5 a.m. The other night watching it first. And I know she hates that. She hates when I watch it, basically first. But I was up and I was watching it, and she was half asleep. Then she got up and she started watching it, and then she kind of went back to sleep. But it was an experience for me, and I just, like I said, I like to kind of catch the wave before I wake up and look at my phone, and then everybody's message. Did you see this? Did you see this? Did you see what happened? And this, that, and the third. But overall, babe, how did you, when you take it in and you actually saw it, because we've been following this journey, what did you think about it?
I know. So, I mean, not being like as vested and well versed in the Star Wars universe from the beginning, but having picked up over just, the past couple years and through you and listening to you guys on the panels, on the shows and things. I thought this episode was pretty epic. I think, in some ways, in a lot of ways, actually, it was a deviant from this story, or the expectation of the story of Book of Boba Fett that you all seem to, had been hoping and wishing for. But I think the overall messaging behind this episode is really setting things up to a greater point. And I'm just hoping that this last episode doesn't disappoint. Mm-hmm. I mean, it showed love. I saw some evolution in character, which is, my thing. I'm a big, evolving of character fan. So, I mean, overall, I thought it was a really, really good episode. I'm ready to kind of get into the meat of it and hear everybody else's opinions and views.
Definitely. CC. So here's the thing, like when we we hit the ground running, episode actually opens up, and as I've been saying this, and I've been saying this for the longest time, and people were like shooting it down. I was like, nah, there's no way that we'll actually see this guy. And who do we see? Cobb Vanth. And I was like, yo, if anybody, Boba, or anyone that's going to actually help this guy out, that's on Tatooine, it would be him. How did you, basically, when, from the start of it, like, what did you basically feel when you saw, what did it give you? Did it give you anything, or were you happy to see this guy back on screen again?
So it's funny. I think I'm not saying this just because I'm not a Hot Toys collector, but I know I've heard a lot of people say they wish he would come back so that they would make a Hot Toy of him. At least they've teased one, right?
Yeah.
But I love Timothy Oliphant. I've always Deadwood, Justified.
Yeah.
Like I'm a huge fan of him in general.
Yeah.
So I loved seeing him again, especially the scene we're introduced to him at, where he's got this like Mexican standoff with those with the pipes, and they're running spice, and they have it, and you see him kick it over. So he's like almost, there's a lot of Western influences, like the good and the bad, the ugly, that kind of thing in this whole episode. But I think just seeing that he's kind of just that token, like good at the core kind of marshal that you expect from a small old town. So I was really excited to see him again. And I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I will say that another scene he was in that was quite suspenseful, I was like at the edge of my seat in a way I didn't expect. It's almost like you don't know how much you like something until you flip a coin as to whether or not you're like, how do I feel about this? Flip a coin, and then you see the result and you're like, you know what? No, like I think so. Seeing him again and seeing like the high stakes scene he was in, I was like, oh, what's gonna happen? So I was thrilled he's back.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we get the chance we see our guy again on the screen. I mean, Timothy, like, he just brings a certain presence to anything that he plays. Like, he's just like a smooth dude. like seriously, like, it's just something about him. It's just so laid back. What did you think when you actually saw him on screen again?
Well, I was incredibly excited to see him back. And the thing that I think is so interesting about him is that despite not having that armor anymore, it doesn't matter. He doesn't care. I mean, yes, it would be advantageous to him to still have that armor to protect everybody, but he's committed to this. Like, it's almost to a point where he's willing to lose it all, just to make sure everybody's okay. And you can't dislike a character like this.
Yeah. Like, he's just, come on, man. Like, what I don't know. It was. The thing is, just seeing him, and once we hear him talk, and then seeing him with the pikes, I was like, yeah, somebody gonna die. Like, somebody, like, literally, it's just which one of them is willing to take that leap. We're gonna get Vinny. I'm gonna get to you last, Mario, because like I said, I know you're pressed for time pretty soon, but Mario, because I know we talked about it, but what did you think from the opening act, opening first scene? What you think, brother?
Yeah, it was a complete surprise because, like I mentioned before, I didn't think that we would see Cobb Vanth again, let alone have any reason to see him again. I understood the speculation, but I mean, I'm not going to say it wasn't great to see him again because I thought he came out as a G, straight up, with the standoff, man. I loved it, dude,
Absolutely.
and then seeing him with his hair, man, I'm like, yo, I gotta work this blow dryer, try to get, try to get that epic hair like that, man. But no, it was fantastic, man. I thought he did an excellent job, and I love to see him just like standing up for the people of Mos Pelgo now, right? As the actual marshal, just telling these pikes, just to bug off, to scram, and to see him so quick on the draw, man. I mean, just real before anybody could react, he already took out 3 of them. So that was amazing. I mean, I'd love to see him coming out like that. So overall, the opening scene was fantastic. I really enjoyed it.
I mean, he was quick on the draw, like literally, like he was like, and then it was crazy because he said it twice. He said, "Think it through." He said it twice.
He's gracious enough to give the last fight.
If he's telling you twice, like, what are you doing? Like, come on, man. Vinny, he's our guy, bro. Timothy Oliphant, he's our guy, bro. What seeing him back on screen again, like, come on, man, what was up?
Yeah, I like Mario, I wasn't expecting to see him back. I figured his part in the tale was done, but they made they narrative-wise had an excellent reason for his return. Set up the foreshadowing of the town and being involved because of him being shot. We'll see if he's mortally wounded or not. We'll probably see him back. I'm not sure where he shot. I think it might have been the shoulder or the guts, but I'm sure they can, mod some new guts for him if it was the stomach, if that's the case. But, I mean, he might not have Boba Fett's armor anymore, but you would think somewhere, some way, he could figure out a way to get to Jawas to hook him up with like a bulletproof vest or something.
Yeah.
I mean, even Clint Eastwood had a plate. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta get something, bro. But I love his calm and coolness, and as many others have said, like he's one of the if this is the good, bad, and ugly throwback episode, he's definitely the moral center of the show because he's unwavering, doesn't want spice in his town. He kicked it over, didn't even want any of the prophets, and this is clearly a world full of people who are at best on the edge of the good or bad and do whatever they can to survive. And here's somebody who's just trying to be straight up good. So it's definitely a nice shining light of the show. So it was cool seeing them back for sure. And obviously it set up, one of the greatest Star Wars moments that we've yet to see in any media at the, near the end of the episode with Cat.
Yeah, definitely.
I was up at 3 a.m. watching this, man. I couldn't risk waking up. I couldn't risk waking up and accidentally checking my phone and having something spoiled. So I just stayed up.
That
late
was my point.
I just stayed up late on Tuesday and then just rocked it. And then my dumb ass, I stayed up and watched it 3 to 4. And now here's 4 o'clock, and I'm so hyped. I didn't go to bed till like 6 because I was talking on the internet with everybody about what I had just seen, and I didn't feel like going to sleep.
Definitely.
But it's better than having it spoiled for me because if I would have waited and then woke up in the morning, by then everybody's already talking about it.
Yeah.
Man, if I knew everybody was up, man, I would have hit everybody up for a watch party, man.
We should have. That's what I'm saying. It would have been I normally set the alarm, but it's like I train myself to get up extra early.
I was so hyped. I probably got my steps in by 4 because I was just pacing watching it.
Yeah, right.
Listen, Mario and Vinny, maybe y'all should set that up so that Leo is not waking me up at 3 a.m.
You know what? Yeah, Leo, we're gonna go hang out. Cece's already up doing her thing with Matt over there talking about the whole thing. So she's already up. We can all just go hang out with her.
Party.
Yeah. We can hang out with Cece.
Yeah, we could definitely do that, man.
It gets real fun after everyone's watched the episode. Like we watch it live together.
Yeah.
And so you get to. It's funny. My sister never watches the shows I'm on, but she watched that episode, and she was like, "The look on your face when Cad Bane showed up was hilarious." But it's like it's almost like you could time it by the minute. As soon as the episode's over, it's like everyone's watched it as soon as it went live on Disney Plus, and then everyone jumps in on the chat, and it just becomes a real fun time.
Yeah,
it's worth it to be up at 1 o'clock my time to do that.
Oh heck yeah! So we're gonna have to actually plan a watch party for this. Especially it's the finale too. Like
exactly,
man. We got to kind of do a little something like that. I'm ready for it though. So fast forward, we actually see we go to the next scene. We see Mando arriving on an interesting planet. I mean, we kind of knew where it was going. I heard somebody say this earlier. I was watching John Campea. I was watching and Robert Meyer Burnett was like, "Yo, you got to leave it to Luke." Despite everybody else, he always picks the comfortable spots to be where there's water, there's greenery, there's life. It's like his own private oasis. Like he picks these places working out. And it's like, he doesn't pick sand. He was like, enough for Tatooine. Never. I would never see that place again. Victoria, like seeing, and do you think, and I'm gonna ask you a question here, because this is where we're kind of just moving into a certain a phase where we hear this. We've heard this now for like a week. It's Mando. It's supposed to be the Book of Boba. We have Mando overshadowing, Boba Fett. Is this becoming more of a Mando show than it would be Book of Boba Fett? You know what I mean? Like he's taking over. Like what's the reason? Where's the continuity? We don't see this. Why? Like why is it even happening? What do you think that the pace or the route that they're taking with the introduction of Boba and introducing him in these last 2 episodes? Do you think it's overshadowing too much, or do you think it's more so just right? That we're getting him in this type of space right now.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. It's certainly not doing Boba Fett any favors. He has been sidelined. I have personally enjoyed these last 2 episodes. I haven't really spoken to anybody who hasn't. So I'm completely down with down with it. And I really think that there's a purpose here for it. Initially I was like, okay, so people want to see Mandalorian. This show was huge last year, the year before.
Yeah.
And people want to see where he's at. They want to see Grogu. They want to remind people that these characters are still out there and things are still going on. I just feel like it's all going to come down to the season finale. I think that everything's going to come together. I think we're going to see all these characters again that we've seen. Save maybe for Ahsoka. I think that we're going to see everybody on Tatooine, and there's going to be something that just brings everybody together. But yeah, I mean, Boba certainly has been put out to pasture for a little bit now, and it's kind of unfortunate. I mean, given that the show is not the Book of Din Djarin, it is the Book of Boba Fett. So I certainly empathize with that. The sentiment that he's, everybody wanted to see Boba and had all these expectations for this character they built up in their heads for decades now, and myself included. But I think it's going to work out in the end. Maybe I'm just being optimistic, but I feel like there's going to be something that makes it all worthwhile. These side quests that we've been on the last 2 episodes. Got you.
Good point. Great point. Toya, now I know you have a totally a different perspective when it comes to the Book of Boba, and the way you're viewing it, because it was really interesting when we were talking earlier about, because there's certain things that kind of stick out to you, mainly Boba's presence on this planet, and from his perspective where he's going, and his journey especially when it comes to Grogu. How did you feel about this, seeing him in search of what we want to actually now say, we know everybody knows him as either baby Yoda, Grogu, but initially it's his son. There's the way he's basically, it's the foundling, but it's become more of his son, and that's just how he sees him, because he has grown an attachment. How did you feel about it?
Okay. Well, as far as the overshadowing of like the book of Boba Fett in the show, I think instead of like complaining about the fact that we're not seeing enough of him, I try to figure out like, what are the writers doing? Like, why would they take this course? And I think about like, okay, the book of Boba Fett, it reminded me of like scripture, like the book of Eli, or chapters in the Quran. And understanding that a lot of times you'll have a chapter that's named something, right? And then, for example, in the Quran, the second chapter is 255 verses, and only 10 of them talk about the actual title, which is the cow. But those 10 lines are so significant that they bring together the entire chapter, and you get the point. And it's basically to propel you forward into, just an evolution of your own personal journey. So when I think of, all of this overshadowing, or like, where is Boba? I think of one, from what I know of his history throughout the shows, for one, hadn't really been seen very much. His presence in the shows and the movies has been minimal, even though he's been like this fierce fighter, as far as I've learned. So I think maybe like the writers are taking like that course, like, okay, you guys we really haven't told you too much. What you are anticipating is more of his story from the past, what was missing from the moments that he was shown. But perhaps they're really staying in line with, his true character, which is you don't really know too much, but you get an idea of who he was. And so now that we haven't seen very much of him, but what we have seen of him is that he has made changes, being kind of rescued and taught by the what were they called? The
Tuskens.
The Tuskens, thank you.
Yeah. Or Sand People.
Yeah,
I don't know which
Tusken
one
Raiders.
correct, if I'm honest.
But say PCCC.
Yeah.
we say Tuskens over here.
Just kind of being taught, by them. Like, he's really, from what I know and understand, is the evolution of his character, that he is really evolving. He's going from being, the Empire's fiercest hunter to, trying to become a leader, trying to work well with others, and taking a step back to be a servant leader, right? Okay, Fennec, teach me this, or show me. Who do you think can help me? Now bring in Mando in, and, just kind of asking and allowing him to help, and him standing at the end of the episode. I think they were standing around trying to figure out, the ins and outs of how to, get his, what am I saying?
His muscle.
Yeah. So, it's like he's taking a backseat to learn and to help have this community help him, just become a different type of person, a different leader, and to be seen in, kind of like a different light. So, I think a lot of people seem to be looking from the outside at you guys. A lot of you seem to be disappointed, but I think the point is like the evolution of these characters. And we see that in Mando. Like the scene, first of all, the scene was absolutely beautiful. Visually, just the saturation and color, the angles, everything, it was amazing, like euphoric. But this scene with Mando, it's a lot to unpack here. From him, he made the journey with a specific goal in mind. He had to give Grogu this armor, which, a lot of it was also that he wanted to just see him, right? See him, more than likely feel some affection and say, hey, do you remember me? Is the love still there, if you can imagine? But I think, when he runs into, and I don't want to get ahead of myself because I know it's going to come up, but I think in this moment, I'll say it generally, and I guess we can talk specifically later. I think he is just showing like himself elevating and evolving, and finding that balance between what he's been taught and his upbringing as far as the way, but also now respecting and understanding the way of the Jedi. And I think they're evolving him in such a way that he is going to be some great middleman character to set it up for, Mando season 3, that is really going to maybe kind of bring the two together to create like a whole nother world in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that insight, man. Thank you, Mario. Because like I said, I'm gonna get it to you, then I'm gonna get it to the rest of everybody else. Because I know, like I said, we're pressed for time. Again, seeing that we've actually gone from Cobb Vanth to now Mando, with no hint of Boba as of right now, and we're seeing these other characters. How did you basically feel about the scene, or this particular scene itself?
I was well invested as far as what was going on, man, because I mean from the opening scene, it just completely had my attention, and we discussed this last week, and I didn't think that we would actually see this, right? I was gonna suspect that we'd probably see just a little bit of Mando just going to see Luke, and that was it, hoping that they would cut to Boba and his squad strategizing for what's to come. But I'm not mad that they did this. I mean, actually, it was great to see Mando come in here really really anxious and really excited to see Grogu again. I mean, they have such a strong bond together, but at the same time, it was just knowing how attached that Grogu actually is to Mando right now. And we all know with attachments with the Jedi, that's really not a good thing. We saw what happened with Anakin, just because of attachments and everything else. Yep. And who knows if it's actually possible if Grogu can share the same fate. But yeah, I was, like I said, I was well versed in this entire scene. The fact that we saw Ahsoka again, that was absolutely surprising. Yeah. When I saw R2 on screen, I loved it. R2 is like one of my favorite characters, man, and I loved every minute of it. And to see the beginnings of the actual Jedi Academy come to place as well, being the actual school being built, it was great. But yeah, I still feel like we still need to see more of Boba and what's going on, with the actual plot. I said this before also, I don't have that much faith right now in the finale, just because I feel there's so much to actually wrap up in so little time. I don't think they're going to give us, all the time in the world to really wrap things up properly. Yeah. So it's possible that they can have everything span over the course of either the next season or into the season of Mandalorian season 3.
Gotcha,
so
bro.
We'll actually see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Before I move on to Odom and Cece and then Vinny, just want to address this. You guys got a couple super chats here. We got a $4.99 super chat by Superhero Displays. Ahsoka, Luke, Yoda are my 3 favorite characters. Can you imagine how my brain spontaneously blew up? I haven't yet come down from ceiling. Yeah, that's just the way I felt. Like definitely the way I felt. It was definitely there. Just to see that, and then like I said, just the exchange between Ahsoka and Luke. We'll talk about that later on. Jedi Kid, Luke is back, baby. Mad love for the crew. I can't wait to talk about this show. Definitely, man. All day, every day. That $4.99 super chat. Definitely thank you for that, brother. So we get Mando, and we actually see. And here's the thing that I like about this show and what it's doing, and where the sequels failed. R2 is, if not, just like he is basically the pillar of what Star Wars represents. He is an android who has chronicle. He has everything that happened from episode 1 up into 9 has been chronologically installed in his brain, like literally. So like seriously, like the lack of love that they have given this character in the sequels really pissed me off. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. But to see now that, look, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are giving R2 the love that he definitely deserves. And to see that exchange between him and Mando, like, it was just magical. What did you think when you actually saw it?
Well, R2 is the storyteller. That every time you see a movie and it gives you the summary, that's R2 telling you what's been going on and relaying the story to you as the observer. Yeah. So you're right. He is the person that's recording history. I think it's very significant. It's not a coincidence that Din was there while the school was being built. And, to be placed so close by where the school was being built. Yes, it's true. They put the bench there for him and everything. But it goes to show that Din is going to continually be around Force users. Whether he has Force abilities or not, it's, we don't really know what's going to happen with that. But he has to grow accustomed to being around these Force users because, boy, he sure does run into them a lot. In addition to having a Force weapon. And so, I think that if he could get some information from R2 just to fill him in on stuff that he doesn't know but needs to know going forward. Luke is there. He has all the manuals and everything. The school is going to be opened. This is such an incredible moment for Din to even be witnessing. I mean, my jaw was dropping to the ground, and I was like, they're not doing what I think they're doing. And of course it was. Yeah. The school was being built. But R2, his personality, his character came out in this. Again, the last time we saw him was when he was with Grogu. I guess I'm pointing to the wrong one, but when they saw each other and he was sort of like jumping up and down for joy. And, R2, recognized Din. And R2 is a person to me. I know he's an astromech, but he's a definitive person, an artificial intelligence now for me. And, it's not the same not having him represented in the universe because we need him. He's the one who is telling this story to us. So that's how I felt about it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. And you bring up an interesting point because I was hoping at least in the scene that we got between an exchange that we got between him and Ahsoka, I was hoping he was going to bring up the Darksaber and that there was going to be at that point an exchange or at least a conversation and her even questioning how he got it or, what happened, and, anything that he wants to know about it, giving him the history of it. I was hoping, that would happen. But I think that's something they're just kind of waiting to unveil because they didn't want that to be the focus, especially on this show and for the episode stuff like that. So I think we're going to get that going forward on the next. And
I also think that Din was not ready to learn everything just yet. He's just not ready.
He's not focused on that at all. Yeah,
it's going to take him time to get there. He will learn, but he's so far behind. He will learn it, but he is kind of like a rough lesson. But he's no different from Grogu and Luke, who have both learned their craft. Later on, or at least let's say getting to learn the Force in a different way. So they've all gone down these different paths than what might have been traditional. So it's kind of interesting when you look at it that way. And Ahsoka's the one who is the senior person. That's why, that conversation she has with Luke, I said, he sounded so scared, not scared, but it was like when he asked her if he was going to see her again, it was like, gee, are they? They just kept throwing different things in these moments that really have me asking even more questions, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I love to see? I love to see Jen the just the humility, right? Like he's open to and not even getting frustrated with Ahsoka's questioning, right? Like, you know why I'm here. I told you why I'm here, but she's asking him, well, why? And well, what do you think will happen? And he's being very patient and vulnerable in that moment. And like, especially, you mentioned the school. I'm sure that him seeing the school and understanding that this is a monumentous moment, like right here, that I'm seeing this school be built. You're telling me that my guy, like my kid, is going to be the first student, in this university. I'm pretty sure that had a lot to do with his decision to not go forth and not disturb, his training and his peace. But just the humility here in the character, it was brilliant to me. I love to see it.
Definitely. Before I go to UCC, we got a $1.99 or $1.79 super chat from Superhero Displays. Ahsoka and Luke have history. Definitely, I love that. And also Superhero Display, $1.79. R2 is the Bible of Star Wars. You are right on point with that. He is. He is. He's definitely the Bible. Everything that you would need to know, because every time there's an exchange, and every time we actually see like human exchange with them, if they're passed on to another, they always say wipe the protocol droid's mind. It's never R2. It's always the protocol droid. Like literally, it's crazy. CC, again, Din Djarin, his exchange between, just seeing him and Ahsoka in the presence again of then. I mean, come on, y'all can never get enough Ahsoka. I love Ahsoka's character, but yeah, like seeing him in his journey now, where he's at on this planet. How'd you feel about these scenes?
Well, I think seeing her so early, obviously we saw Cobb Vanth and everything, kind of felt like this episode was almost like their version of, and we've talked about it before, of like Avengers Assemble. Mm-hmm. Like this is where it's like everyone comes together for the same kind of cause. In this case, it's them all coming together for what's best for Grogu, and I think that's what like Toya was talking about, where Din has Grogu's best interest at heart, like a true like father figure to a foundling, right?
Yes, exactly.
I'm hoping the consolation prize, if Grogu does end up deciding, because I do think he's going to choose to stay with Din Djarin, is that Luke says like, okay, well, in order for me, Din says to Luke, in order for me to like best protect this young force sensitive being who survived Order 66 and all this stuff, I need to be better. Teach me how to use the Darksaber so I can not only defend myself, but to defend him as well. Because I think, it's a shame we talk about how Boba Fett wasn't in this episode very much, but I think that was the sacrifice we had, was to kind of like lay the plot work for the future and for future shows with all of these characters coming together was at the loss of finding out more about Boba Fett and this upcoming war.
Yeah, definitely. Vin Dog, come on, man. Like I can feel you through the Force. Like yesterday morning, bro. I can literally feel, well, considering the simple fact that you're only like a block down from me.
Yeah,
so.
You probably heard me geeking out from here.
Yeah, I just heard you geeking out. I looked out, saw the lights on. I was like, yeah, he's doing his thing. But this scene, bro, him on this planet. I know. Come on, man, because we always geek out over this. We're going to actually have a watch party of this whole entire season at your
no
crib.
doubt.
So I already
we'll
know that.
Definitely, yeah. This, I want to real quick cover a couple of the questions you had. The first one was the kind of like the misdirect issue that we're Star Wars fans are discussing with the show. Is it just what it feels like? It feels like you went to a restaurant and go get some pizza, and as soon as you walked in the door, you heard a surprise, and it was a family reunion, and everybody who you've never seen in 20 years, 30 years is there, and you spend the next 2-3 hours partying, and you have the night of your life. And then the shop closes, everybody goes home, and you realize, shit, I'm still hungry. I didn't get no pizza, but I had the time of my life. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where it's tough that we didn't see Boba. I mean, he didn't even have a line. He didn't have a single line in this episode. And I get that they're setting up so much and so much great things happen, but it is kind of his show, and it feels like these are a lot of stuff that we could have seen in Mandalorian. So it's kind of tough because I don't know if we will get a Book of Boba Fett season 2. So it's I don't want this to come at the expense of Boba Fett, especially considering we had 4 very controversially, taken episodes, whether as far as quality goes, and we were looking forward to the last 3 being like, okay, now he's going to, get into it. We were waiting to see that.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, this was like almost many of our favorite characters of all time in one episode. I mean, Luke is my favorite character of all time, even more than Darth Vader. And seeing him training Yoda, Grogu, like an inversion of Yoda training him, like those scenes on Dagobah, of like Star Wars is so far up, and out of all that, Empire is at the top, and out of Empire, those Dagobah scenes mean the most to me, more maybe than any scenes in any films ever.
Yeah.
So seeing the inversion, like we even seen when back to R2, setting up, telling him to wait, was like when Luke had to wait on Yoda to show up in Empire. So there was a lot of like, I know what you did there throughout this whole thing. I mean, it was they could have named the episode fan service, because that's what it was for almost an hour. It was just it was like Kylo just screaming more, and then Luke, and then more, and then Grogu, like more, and then Ahsoka. It was just nonstop. Here you go, guys. It was just a love letter to Star Wars fans, and I can't really complain too much about not getting more Boba, because we got to see so much in this show that I never thought we'd see. I wasn't even sure we'd see some of this stuff in Mandalorian season 3, let alone in the Book of Boba Fett. So it's one of the greatest episodes of TV period, because who would have thought we would have got to see what, seeing Luke at the end of last season. There was no promise that we were going to get to see that training sequence later on. So there's so much more to discuss on, but that was my initial reaction to the show. It's like, it was yet another episode where we didn't get, who we came to see, but how can you be mad when it's everybody else in the world we would have wanted to see?
Yeah. Definitely. Mario, I know you got to actually shoot out, man. So, definitely thank you for being on it. Well, come on, you're on the show all the damn time, man. So I don't even know why I'm actually saying that. Mario, are you going to make it? Are you going to make a, because I know we made the announcement. You made the announcement last night, but you going to make the announcement, let everybody know what you got coming up, brother?
Yeah, man. So I'm off on my own ventures right now. Starting up a YouTube channel. You can check me out at El Profesoro on YouTube. I've been humbled and blessed right now to actually receive 70 subs already with no content up on the channel yet. So things will be coming up soon. You can hit me up on Instagram as well at El Profesoro with all zeros instead of an O. But yeah, man, I mean, like I said, I'm incredibly humbled and blessed. I mean, to really be a part of this community and just to be shown the love that everyone's been pouring out. It's incredible. But yeah, real quick, shout out moms. I'll see you in a little bit. La Jefita, happy birthday. I'll see you in a minute.
Happy birthday, Mrs.
Latoya, Victoria, it was a pleasure to meet you guys in person. Artem, CC, we'll see you guys next week. Vinny, Leo,
my man.
Watch party, man. Let's make it happen.
Yes, we're going to make that happen, bro. We're going to make that happen. We're going to plan it. Everybody, we're going to plan a watch party, so just stay tuned for that. Definitely, man. But man, tell my Dukes I said happy birthday, man.
We'll do it, man. Good night, everybody.
All right, good night. Brother. See you later on, man. But yeah, so, speaking of which, you know what I mean? Because we're touching on this, we might as well. I mean, this is a great segue. I mean, it's definitely a great segue into this next thing. Because, like I said last night, I was telling people last night, look, when you do such a great job, when you do a great job on something and you get noticed, the opportunities are endless. And the guy who gave us this version of Mark Hamill, it was like literally, I was looking at Mark Hamill, the younger version of Mark Hamill again. And I was like, wait. Don't, come on, man. Like literally, like, wait, stop. I was like, yo, okay. So we were already basically like struck I mean, we were just excited about what we actually got last season. What we got last season of Mandalorian, that final episode of the rescue. Like, we were already on a high then of what we saw. And it was some, you know, people were talking about, oh man, like it was great, but you know, the look was off, like the CG was off, it was terrible, you know what I mean? But at the same time, we accepted it because it's Luke. We're happy about that. Then we get this scene, we get this episode, and they hired the guy, I forget his name, but Smook, yeah, there you go. He's a YouTuber. We've actually seen him on social media everywhere, and they said, "Oh, yo, no, we got to make that. We got to get this guy because he did such a good job."
Yeah.
Victoria, when you got it, when you saw this, was this like you were looking at Luke in his heyday again? Was it like you were looking at the young version of Mark Hamill, the young tyke that we actually got from Jedi? Like, was it like you were actually looking at him again? And did you see, was it one of those things where you kind of pointed out imperfection first, or you were just like, no, I'm looking at Luke? How did you feel?
It totally was. It was like, this episode just hit me on so many levels, and this was just like probably the pinnacle of that. The CG was completely dialed in. I mean, seeing him in Mandalorian, a year plus ago, I think just the fact that he was there and what he was doing and just how he was portrayed was what really made me excited, even though he didn't look 100%. I kind of feel like with that version, they tried to make him look a little bit older than Return of the Jedi, maybe the extra 5 years.
Yeah.
But this time, I feel like they just went strictly for Return of the Jedi, and the end result here is just fantastic. It's seriously the best CG I've seen for a human. I don't know exactly what processes they use compared to last time, but he looked incredible, and just I teared up, just seeing him like that. And
right.
With Grogu, and it was awesome.
Yo, I'm right there with you, Mike Fitzgerald. I was like, hold up, Luke freaking Skywalker, yes. Like it was. We knew we were going to see him, but it was like, what were we going to actually see? That, baby, that this household, we talk about Luke. I have everything in here is Luke. You know how I feel about Luke Skywalker, and you also know how heartbroken I was at the last Jedi and what they did to my guy Luke, and why I hate that film so much. I hate it so much, and I'm not even going to go into it.
He does,
but I was hurt. But this was some redemption for me, man. Babe, what did you think when you actually saw it? Because I know you were half asleep. I know you had some,
No, but I mean, watching it the second, third, and however in a half times, but I was starstruck.
Yeah.
I was starstruck. And then to see him just on a big screen, those close-ups.
Yeah.
I mean, you go back and you watch Empire, and you get to see him up close, and it's really him. But this, like, they were showing off.
Yeah.
They were like, what did y'all say about the last one? It was a little bit off. Let me, like they stepped their game up. But it was beautifully done. I can imagine. I mean, for me, it took me back to, like I said, when Yoda was teaching him, and he's, falling all over the place and getting frustrated with himself, and just kind of see like the youthfulness, that novice in him then, but to see him still young in the face, but to see him more poised, more confident, and for them to kind of just get that in there, like those nuances were absolutely amazing. I know that you guys were stoked because I was. So,
man, definitely. I can, you know what? It's like, yo, if I could open my front door and put my ear outside when this scene came on, you being in New York, me being here in Pennsylvania, it's almost I could hear you saying, yeah! How excited was you to actually see this, man?
Well, I have to say, my heart would not stop pounding. And I had to turn up the volume on the television because my heart was beating so fast. And I just was so thrilled by this. And he looked so good. And he looks just like Luke to me. So as far as I'm concerned, this was, absolute perfection. He does look a little more mature, more knowledgeable. It's Master Luke we're looking at. And to see him with, a Padawan, it was just such a delight. And for it to be Grogu, it was, when this episode came out, I was not ready to see Grogu again. I said, they're not going to show us Grogu. Come on, don't get your hopes up. Don't. And my mother's like, they may not show Grogu. I'm like, yeah, I know. She's like, well, don't be. I'm like, okay, I won't be upset if they don't show Grogu. And I said, it's probably going to be the next, season or whatever. But to get Luke and Grogu, I just can't even. I'm still actually very high from this episode. I have not come down yet. It's really kind of permeating everything I'm thinking about, and it's really just such a high point of joy for me. And it wasn't sort of meaningless, interludes. Everything had so much meaning in the encounter. Luke himself seems like he's so at peace. It was beautiful to see him like this. It was just amazing. I loved seeing him not worrying about, it's some of the things that he's had to worry about in the past. Just his calmness and serenity. And I'm like, yeah, maybe this is what it's like to be just a Jedi who is kind of relaxed. And that point, I have to tell you, when he
look
did
how
this,
cute that is, man.
I love that Luke said, Ahsoka was like, I'm just, you're doing a great job training him. And he says, I'm just reminding him that it's move the frog like this and force jump like that. And then it's he's just a kid, but it's all coming back to him, Grogu is remembering his Jedi training. And I thought, oh my God, he has PTSD. I can't even I just, it was so beautiful. And we learned so much, and we saw Order 66. I mean, oh my goodness. So this is the lower version of how I was when I first saw everything. And I lost my voice, everything. I was just so excited. It was gentle. He was loving towards Grogu. We got to see Luke as a caring individual who showed, genuine concern for Grogu. And Grogu just, not having the weight of different things on his shoulders. Grogu has always been worrying about people chasing after him. It's not easy being, a force being who everybody is trying to hunt down. And now this might be some of the first moments that Grogu can just kind of relax, start to learn his craft, figure out how he feels about things. It was so wonderful to see that. Luke is incredible. So that's how I felt about it.
CC, did you fan out? Did you fan out by seeing Luke back on screen? Just seeing, I'm probably in the minority because of how well connected. Luke, I'm with Vinny. Luke is my favorite character. Him and Vader of all time. Of all time in the Star Wars universe. Seriously, just that dynamic. But to see Luke like this again, tell me how you felt.
It was, so I remember saying that seeing Mando was being at a party and you're like, this shit's boring, and then your best friend walks in. This was that times 1,000. This was I think I haven't watched it back yet, to see my reaction to the show, but I think I just kept saying he looks so good. He looks so good. And he had that poise about him that he had in Return of the Jedi that I think, because, I think I said this too, that in New Hope, I thought he was whiny and annoying. And it wasn't until Empire Strikes Back that I was like, hello there, when it came to Luke. And so I appreciate that. And also, I think that the feeling's kind of mutual when it comes to Grogu kind of maybe feeling a little comfortable with the fact that Luke is so calm and also is teaching him about the Force and getting him to use the Force again. But also, I think besides the PTSD, you have to understand, because we've seen it a little bit with with Kanan and Ezra, they had to not use the Force in order to live. So it's more I can understand him being traumatized by Order 66. But that could be traumatizing to anyone. But alone the fact that he even at, I know cognitively, I don't know how old he is. We know he's 50, but he's obviously very, very young. Not only did he see that and it affected him greatly, but he understood that the reason why that was happening was because those people that were targeted were force
Yeah.
sensitive just like he was. So
Yeah.
he wasn't a Jedi yet, but that alone made him a target. And I think that was a good reminder of that too, like what Ahsoka was saying, I think to Mando. I think she even said that too.
Yeah.
That they kind of had to go into hiding for so long, that a lot of this is going to be new. It's new to Luke. It doesn't look like it's new to Luke because he's doing such a fantastic job in these scenes, but you know, it's very hopeful seeing them build the school. Of course, we know what happens with that, but just they did a fantastic job with this. It made me really, really hopeful for the future, and it made me want to see. I know there's rumors, but it made me want to see people like Han again.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would show Carrie Fisher. I think that would be a little much. I think it would be a little disrespectful, but you know, like her family, they understood how much she loved the saga and Star Wars, so maybe they'd be down for it. But I think seeing this technology and what they've done, they brought back Luke Skywalker the way
Yeah.
we loved him before,
Yeah.
and the way that we always thought we're going to get a chance to see him again, but we
Yeah.
only had that in the expanded universe and in the comic books and in the books. So just kind of having a new face to put to the old face was kind of comforting. I loved all of this.
Definitely.
And Vader's my guy, but
Yeah.
this made me be like, Vader who?
Right.
I might have to go to the light side.
It is. It's like, yo, like this gives you so much hope for what we're going to see now going towards the future. This technology being used has broke the mold. And the thing is, it's like we've seen it last year, but on this level, it's like, yo, hold up. And must I say, everybody out in the chat, aren't the ladies holding it down tonight? Like literally,
Always.
they are holding it down. Like they are killing it. Like straight up. Y'all asked for it out in the chat. Y'all was like, you need to bring some more ladies on. And y'all got it. So I don't want to hear y'all say shh again. Like seriously, like y'all got it and they are killing it every week. We got a $5 super chat by Tom Jr. Jackson. This CGI was fixed because they hired the guy from YouTube who did it. Exactly. That's what we were talking about. Definitely. We got a $10 super chat by Mike Fitzgerald. He just said, yo, I'm just going to throw a $10 super chat because I
That's
just
my
love
man,
y'all.
Mike. Appreciate it, Mike.
Appreciate you, Mike. Vinny, I mean, yeah, brother. Like, I can imagine you got that Native American tear that came out your eyes with the slow turn when you saw Luke for the first time on the screen. Again, how'd you feel about it, brother?
You already know. I mean, that feeling that we had when we seen the end of, the last season of Mando with the rescue, and I wasn't sure if I get to see, more of him.
Yeah.
And, obviously similar sentiments to you with Last Jedi, like the furtheration, the furthering of Luke's story is on screen, not what we're hoping for, and we really didn't think that we'd ever get a chance to see more of that, especially with Lucas going with prequels instead of sequels. The age that Mark Hamill needed to be to have done these stories needed to have taken place in the 2000s, not the 2020s. It's past that time. I didn't think that the technology for this to happen would be here, and it's here. I mean, I have no idea how expensive this is, but future stories of Luke, we always figured we'd have to go with somebody like Sebastian Stan, who just looks a lot like him. I never thought we'd be able to see the aging process. I mean, because we've seen it here and there with like Leia and Rogue One and Tarkin and stuff, but it wasn't quite as good as this. So we're getting to see just how fast the technology is coming along. But all the technical aspects aside, man, it was Luke, man.
Yeah.
And it was cool hand Luke. Like Return of the Jedi Luke, when he walked into the temple and Han thought he had delusions of grandeur because he thought he was the man, and he was like, nah, you just been asleep. You don't know he is the man now.
Exactly.
Like he was just cool as ice, man. He was just like telling Grogu what all he needed to do. But the cool part is he wasn't exactly infallible yet. He still had a little bit of doubt. He asked Ahsoka if he was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Even she was like, just follow your heart, because I can't tell you.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that dynamic too. You're just like that. You're just like your father, man. Who did I not take out, man? Like that. Think about, because that makes you realize just how much they probably have conversed while they've been there working on the school, and it leads to what we see further. Like clearly, we're not to the Jedi way is a bunch of BS, Luke. We're still in the Jedi way. My father didn't follow, and it caused his downfall, Luke. So this is him still, holding on to the Jedi way because he's seen what not following it did to his old man. Yeah. So I love that we got to see not just those interactions with Grogu, but we also got to see the little interactions with Ahsoka, and then we also got to see basically some an advanced version of a Jedi mind trick by looking into Grogu's mind. I don't think we'd quite seen a light side user who did it on purpose do it that way yet. Like Rey kind of did it by accident, and otherwise we just seen Kylo forcibly doing it. So it was very cool. It told us a lot about what happened with Grogu. Though the Jedi that we seen in that clip was actually one of the choreographers for the prequels. So they got to use him as a nice little Easter egg throwback, right? Yeah. And like seeing him do that, crouching tiger, hidden dragon stuff, climbing up the bamboo, and just talking about serenity. Those lines, and I'll just reiterate, those scenes with Yoda in Dagobah are some of the most profound, spiritual, important lines in cinema, despite the fact that it's between a man and a puppet. Take all that away, things that he said in that movie shaped me as a person. So seeing them again now, inverted, and Luke teaching someone else this is, while I'm as an older man now, it's just so deep and so heavy, and it's so cool to me because there's kids now who were my age when I first seen Empire, watching this show, getting those lessons now from Luke. It's dope. Circle of life.
Yep.
Yo, is he preaching tonight? Like, is he mic dropping?
Yes.
Like, is that what Mike is that what Vinny's doing? Like, literally, I think that's what
he's like. We talking about Luke, man. What do you expect?
Like he's mic dropping tonight, but you in perfect segue, because what we got when he entered the mind of Grogu was the flashback to a scene that all of us here wanted to see. All of us wanted to see this. See the I'm gonna mix it up. CC, I'm gonna start with you first. To see the 501st back on screen in live action, and to see those three Jedi, like literally going at, man, CC, I mean, was it euphoric for you? Was it how you wanted it to be? Tell me how you really feel.
I'm gonna cut out a few profanities. This is how.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
This is how you do a flashback, people.
Yeah.
The ones we had early on with Book of Boba were important. They were important to Boba Fett's story. Yeah. But the pacing was so off. Like, this is how you do it. This and the Night of a Thousand Tears. Like, this is how you do it. Yeah. I'm just sad that we got stuff like this so late in the game. Yeah. But I think, this isn't the end of Grogu's story with us. So I'm hoping we see more of this in the future with Mandalorian season 3. Because this was, anything Order 66 related is heartbreaking. Yeah. It's just heartbreaking. Yeah. But I think it's really easy with Grogu not being vocal, and with him having a main connection to Mando, to forget that the wheels are always turning. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he's always thinking, and he's got 50 years of history under his belt. I have to constantly remind myself of that, because he is so small, because he's non-vocal, that like, just because he seems so young to us doesn't mean he doesn't have like 50 years of history, of being taught the ways of the force of this trauma. So I thought, like, if they just keep it up with these kind of flashbacks, I think we're gonna be fine for the future.
Definitely.
And this definitely looked like Coruscant, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I thought it was the Jedi Temple, but there's temples everywhere. But this definitely to me looked like Coruscant.
Yeah. Also, these must not be the best of the Jedi, because they were in a narrow hallway. They should have been able to do just fine. It's not like they were surrounded from the back and flanked. So these maybe weren't the best of the bunch, but oh well, it was still very cool to see.
We got a $4.49 super chat. Benny preaching like he was about to introduce extra chocolate.
Crazy.
That's crazy. Victoria, Seeing this, and like I said, I mean, I mean, so soon. Anyway, I would have thought that they would have saved this for Mando season 3, and to get it now, it surprised me. But it's like we knew we were going to get it when Luke was like, "Would you like to?" When he said that, I was like, "Okay, let me,
yes, please.
let me sit up." Let me sit up. Let me sit up. So, Victoria, like, what did you feel? Like, I mean, what did this scene give to you?
I felt everything in this moment. It was just, we haven't seen something like this in live action since Revenge of the Sith,
Yeah.
16, 17 years ago. And I mean, this just really hit like in all the right places. Seeing the 501st, seeing the Jedi. Yeah, we don't know the full spectrum of what's going on. They could be protecting Grogu. They could be, we don't know really what's behind them. Maybe Grogu is not even there. Maybe he's watching this on a monitor or something.
Yeah.
I mean, just seeing the clones in action, after all this time in live action, we've seen them in the Clone Wars, we've seen them in Bad Batch, but seeing them here in live action again, seeing the Jedi Temple, and it was just really, really cool. And I really appreciated how they use the aura that's around like the camera. Yeah. Very similar to Revenge of the Sith when Padme's having when she's like in childbirth and Anakin's having those visions. They use the same sort of effect there, and I thought that was a really neat thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely was. Babe, I gotta keep saying. I gotta stop. I'm you know what? Latoya T. Coco Tulip, Latoya T. That's how I'm going to address you because we're going to be professional.
All government from now on.
We're going to be we're going to basically be professional on exactly. We are. We're going to be as professional as we can possibly be.
Don't forget that.
Latoya, how did you feel about this scene? Now, mind you, after the many times that I paused it, and here's what I want everybody to do. Everybody is out in the chat. Because I did this several times. I want you to pause it during this scene, at the very end of the scene. Like, at the very end, look in Grogu's eyes. Look in his eyes. Because once the 501st start charging him, look at the very end. There is a figure that steps in the camera, that steps in his eyesight. Right at the very end, and then it just fades to black. So there's someone that steps in right before it fades to black. When you watch that scene, watch it over and pause it, and you'll see it step right in, and then they pause it, go straight to black. So I want you to watch that. We did that today. Anyway, Toya, how did you feel about this scene?
I thought, it was, just a significant, scene. Of course, we wanted to know, the backstory, that memory of, how he came to the point where Mando had to come and get him and, deliver him to where he needed to be. I don't really know like the backstory to this battle that you guys are referencing. But from the looks of it, like it made me think about Grogu and like his perspective. He's seeing these stormtroopers, right? And then I think of how later he sees Mando, and Mando's not a stormtrooper, but just him having the armor, having the helmet. So from going from, seeing these stormtroopers, these soldiers come and basically kill off the Jedi who were, his people and there to, help protect him. But then, just that change in having Mando like care for him and just kind of nurture him and to kind of see like that juxtaposition and that difference. And then to see, to witness, the Jedi here be killed and destroyed. But then to see during his journey, Ahsoka, doing her thing as a Jedi. And then now to be learning, to witness Luke come through in their moment of distress when, their backs were against the corner, in the corner, and, to have Luke come through and save the day to rescue him. So to go from seeing like the Jedi be, like killed here to seeing Luke prevail against all of those, droids and anybody else who was in the way to get Grogu. And now to see him, see Luke, like teaching him and to be like this great master, the juxtaposition or the difference between, like I said, seeing these Jedi be killed. I just thought about, Grogu and how he sees that and how that added to his perspective. And now he has to take in all of these experiences to make this decision, that's in front of him. Do I take this armor and go back to the way, or do I take this saber and, be one with the Force? So I thought it was really, really interesting. I think, the traumatic experience ties him in another way to Mando. And a part of me thinks that that's what he is going to choose, taking into consideration that his, like Luke told him, like in his lifetime, like he's so old and he lives for so long that the people who he comes in contact with only live, he'll only know them for a short time. I'm thinking that he might be like, all right, I'll take that short time with Mando. I think I've learned and experienced enough that I'll be okay in the balance.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, I'm looking here.
I was trying to find it too. Are you talking about
because I got it. I'm on the part, but I'm trying to slow it down a bit.
To the eyes?
Yeah, because you got to look in his eyes, and you got to look, right? So when you look at his left eye from that corner, you're going to see something coming in. It's real quick, and then it fades to black. So this video that I'm seeing right now is not showing it, so I'm trying to find another one. Just give me a second here. Give me a sec. Because the thing is, this video is showing it too close. But am I right, babe? We watched it how many times?
Yeah,
and I showed
10,
you, right?
11, 25.
Yeah. And we watched it, and I was like, yo, hold up.
If you don't mind, while you're looking for that, so Latoya said something that sparked something in me about Grogu, about how, like, I think Luke said it in the episode that Grogu was basically going to outlive everyone he cares about, which makes it even more dangerous to form attachments. Well, you're not going to be able to see this on my phone very easily, but if anyone's seen this online, it's made the rounds several times. So it's a photo of an older Grogu. And he's wearing he's levitating the that knob. I'm just going to describe it because this photo is awful. And he's wearing Mando's shoulder pauldron with the Mudhorn signal on it, and it says, "Master Grogu, I thought Jedi were not supposed to form attachments.
Yeah,
attachments do not lead to the dark side. Fear of losing them does. I don't understand. You can be attached to something, but not fear to lose it. Treasure those around you while you can, and rejoice when they return to the Force. You mean when they die? Death is a natural part of life. I wish it weren't, but it is. Once you accept that, the dark side will never take you. I have to live knowing that life and death are inseparable. It sounds impossible." The master gently touches his pauldron. "No, Padawan, it is not impossible. It is the way." And it gets me every time I see it, because this is like almost like the mythos Grogu that we imagine, that in hundreds of years he's still gonna have this pauldron, he's still gonna have this knob from the Razor Crest, and he's still gonna have these feelings. But this is him as a master Jedi who's teaching someone else. This is what I hope to see. It's like the best of both worlds. I want to see him learn how to be a Jedi, and be attached to Din Djarin, but still understand that I think maybe it's possible because of his species that he knows he could form attachments, but he has to understand he's going to lose them anyway. Like Anakin, Anakin feared losing Padme, but she was young and she also was pregnant with twins. That's a totally different scenario. You understand that eventually you may outlive most of your loved ones. Well, Grogu knows.
He knows he's going to do it.
He always has to understand he's going to outlive everyone he loves. So every time I see that, so Latoya, thank you for bringing that up, because it reminded me of that, and I'm hoping that that's kind of the path that they're taking us on.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, it's perfect. It's a perfect segue.
I also love that Luke was like, "Yo, does everybody where you from talk ridiculous like y'all?"
Like he told him this is how he talked. He talked in riddles, and I love how they gave
that speech impediment.
Yeah,
he was like, "What you trying to say, y'all?"
We got a $1.79 super chat. Episode 6 definition of fan service done right. Definitely. We also got superhero displays. There was the best Star Wars since Lucas. Yeah, this was the best. Yes, it was, in his opinion. It was definitely great. We got another super chat here by the Jedi Kid. My brain freaking exploded on the scene with the 501st. And Vinny is right. There were the worst Jedi
Trash.
ever.
They were trash.
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. They were, they had to do what they had to do.
That was
$9.99 super chat by
C-team.
Six Scale Mafia. What's up, everyone? Leo, Leo, you damn good. You got me choked up earlier. Thanks for the support, always, brother. Hey, man, we got you. Hey, it was all about trying to help you out and getting you to that point, bro. And I'm glad that I can be a part of it and we can help another brother out and get there, bro. So, it's, bro, nothing. I'm just in it to just see everybody win, and I'm so happy for that.
Yeah, man, congrats.
So congrats on that, definitely. Did we get to you yet? Did we go to you yet about that scene?
Not yet, but you know what's funny about this scene is that sometimes I'll see a scene, and so of course, it was going to be Order 66. Like once you realize that, it's like, oh my God, it's Order 66.
Yeah.
And it's like you get the excitement, and then when I saw Grogu, like the look on his face it just got me. So I was like, I was like, is he okay? And then immediately the fear of, like him experiencing that and is he okay? And I had the same reaction last week to the Night of 1,000 Tears.
Yeah.
Because K2SO is like my grail. If I could have a droid or a robot or whatever, I always wanted a K2SO. And after seeing that scene, I knew it was a Night of 1,000 Tears, but then it scared me. So now I'm afraid of K2SOs. Like I wasn't, like, it's okay, but you know what I mean? Like I wasn't expecting to get conflicted in the scene. So I was like, oh, wait a minute, are those K2SOs? Oh, they look really scary, And I had this reaction to this because I was so excited for this. And I'm looking and I'm like, wow, they're fighting. And to see his face, it's almost the same face he made at the end of the program. Of this, like he didn't know what to make of what was going on, but I'm sure he felt it because I could feel the emotions of others. And, he probably was really scared and that bothered me. So, thank goodness he was fine, but a lot of people died that day. And I'm just glad that he was saved. And so that's how I felt about it.
You know what? Real quick, in a $4.99 super chat by Toy Box, you brought up a very interesting point because I was looking at that. Look at the walls in the flashback. You can see Barriss Offee's crest on both sides of the wall. Could be a hint. I saw that. Like literally, like there's little subtle hints that they're kind of just throwing in, man. Like, definitely, man. Vinny,
I read an article.
No, go ahead.
Sorry, I read an article that crest was actually Yoda's.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
I have to do my research because I'm not so great with crest, but
because it did look like Barriss a little bit, like from what I saw. But if it was Yoda's crest, that's interesting. That's there because I don't know, because that's the first thing I thought about was Barriss. And could it have been Barriss? You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's I guess I don't know if we're going to actually see that, and I doubt that we'll see it in the next episode. They might save that for Mando. But I do, because they know we all want to know. I mean, this is the dark space that Ahsoka was talking about. Like, his mind goes to this dark place. You know what I mean? So, that's the dark place where it went. Like, where you're actually seeing, people who might have actually mentored you and they're protecting you. You're seeing them die right before your eyes, and there's nothing that you can actually do at such a young age because you're still unexperienced. Like, that is terrifying. And that's, it's traumatic, like post-traumatic syndrome for this guy, you know what I mean, dealing with that for right now. So, I don't know, it's just so much. Vinny, what did you think when, basically when we had a chance to see this realized on screen, and it just took us back to the prequels? And the one thing that I love about Filoni and Jon Favreau is there was so much hate, again, for the prequels. Yep. A lot of people hated them. Me, for one, I never hated the prequels. Never hated them. I never had a hate for it because it was Star Wars for me, and there was so much that I can take from it. And say what you want about it. If I would actually have to pick between the prequels and the sequels, it's the prequels all day because I got a cohesive story from episode 1 to 3. Regardless of how terrible everybody thought the acting was and all that and the dialogue, it still was cohesive. But I like how they basically bring it back and they put a different spin on it, and they make you love certain things. A bit of a nostalgic feeling when you see it. But how did you feel about this scene, bro?
I mean, besides the initial like, wow, those Jedi are not the greatest. The one of the life goals of Dave Filoni is to make the prequels great again. And he did that with Clone Wars, and it was really great that they worked Clone Wars into the show, and to reiterate, because it was such a widely canonized and talked about thing over Star Wars fandom as to the Order 66 and the Fall of the Jedi. And then when we finally seen it on screen, it was like this real quick thing that they never really like. It was just over so fast, and it was really tough to drive home. And then they spent almost a decade fleshing it out with the animated series that was just breathtaking and beautiful all the way through. So it was really good that they touched on it here. I really hope that people watch this who maybe have never seen it, want to know more, and see like who is Cad Bane, what are the 501st, like, oh yeah, there's that Clone Wars show on Disney, maybe I should check that out, and then dive in and see why it's such a big deal that we're seeing Ahsoka and Cad and the 501st here. I like that they also teased that, like you said, with someone, a shape or figure in his eye, that someone's grabbing him, because of course we all want to know who actually saved Grogu, because maybe there's another living Jedi out there that might, that we might see in the future. Who knows? I think something that is kind of like not talked about yet, though, is if you want to talk about PTSD, this is a creature that has grown up in the academy, surrounded probably by, the clone soldiers, who I'm sure he's seen them without their helmet all the time when they weren't in battle. And I'm sure he's seen Jango Fett's face all the time when they were just in the mess hall or wherever on missions, or just like walking around. So if he does go back to Mandalorian and they see Boba Fett in the future, what's going to happen when he sees Boba Fett's face? Because we all know that he never wears his helmet anymore.
That's a really good point. I hadn't even thought of that.
He might freak out and attack Boba Fett, and that might set up a Boba Fett Din Djarin fight.
That would be great.
Interesting point. Interesting point. And I know basically like everybody, I hear it all the time, like especially right now where everybody is going towards the route of, wanting it to be Mace at this point. Like everybody wants it to be Mace. Everybody wants,
makes sense.
Everybody wants Mace to be the one that, steps in, that might have actually saved Grogu. And I always push back that it could be, but does it make sense in the scheme of things? No, it doesn't. Especially what happened to him. Not to say that he died, but he was wounded. Like, it doesn't make sense to basically say that he was the one who stepped in and interfered. If they chose to go that route, I hope they explain it well. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot that kind of goes into that. But anyway, like I said, back to this. Like I was happy to see this. I was definitely happy to actually see, Grogu's training. That's the thing is like, but like you touched on before, Vinny, like Grogu's training, and to see that, on screen fleshed out, to see that training, aspect of it, and to see it's like full circle. Luke was basically, Yoda was basically his master, one of his masters. He was taught by Yoda, and to now see that as a species that he's returning a favor. You know what I mean? As Yoda is a Force ghost, he's probably looking at this like, wow, I've taught you well. Like, wow, like, just paying it forward. It was such a beautiful thing to actually see on screen. And the thing is, what was even better is that it was all practical. They didn't use a CGI version of.
They definitely had a string.
It was all practical, and I love that. I love basically the conversation between Luke and Grogu, and how Luke, if he lagged behind, he would force move him up forward. Like, that was
so cute,
babe. Like when we watched this, because here's the thing. I'm gonna let everybody in on this little secret. And I know she's gonna kill me for it. But I always say that, like, because every time I ask, if I'll look at Toya and I won't ask her anything, I won't say anything. And she'll like, instead of just asking me the question like, what do you want? She'll just go, huh? And when she does it, she sounds just like Grogu. And I'm like, oh, I swear to God, bro.
Next question.
But no, listen, no, but seeing basically this training, like the training with Luke and Grogu, takes us back to the moments of Bespin. You know what I mean? We're just seeing that train, and bro, literally Luke or Grogu being in the backpack on Luke's back. You know what I mean? But instead of actually him being the student, he is now, you know what I mean, the master, and Grogu's the student. It was just like, babe, we watched Empire so many times.
Yeah.
Like, we've watched it, and to kind of see that fleshed out and see this, like, it was amazing. Like, simply amazing.
Yep. Full circle. Full circle. And I mean, that's kind of why, like, I just see that this aspect of it, everything coming full circle, and just the evolution of just characters and roles, everything I think is coming to a beautiful balance right now. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Definitely.
I need a picture though. Maybe Vinny can draw this of Grogu when he was on the edge of the bamboo stick and he's like balancing on one leg. That was the cutest thing.
Definitely. So I want to, Victoria. I want to sort of segue to this next guy, because I know that this is, when we talk about fan service, this is as fan servicey as you can actually get. When it comes to a character that everybody's been talking about, everybody's been wanting, for the longest time. They've actually wanted to see this character on screen. They wanted to see it fleshed out on how we were going to actually see him, how we was going to, and it was always the talk. It's been the talk since the entire season. But when we got a chance to finally see, now mind you, I gotta let everybody in on the secret, because Vinny, I told everybody last night, like, I kind of knew about this before it dropped, because I had behind the scene footage sent to me.
We knew you knew, motherfucker.
But this guy on screen, Cad Bane, to say, like, when we talk about Boba and we say that basically he is the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy, it's like we see Cad Bane in this series, in this episode, and everybody is thinking about him and looking at him as like, okay, Boba's what? You know what I mean? He's what? How did you feel when you actually saw Cad Bane? And the most incredible scene, Vinny, you got to draw this for me, bro.
It took everything I had to not just start drawing right then and there. That was because I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to work on, and Cad just got bumped up. I'm definitely doing a headshot.
Definitely, but I'm gonna show you the scene I want you to draw. Victoria, how did you feel when you actually saw him on screen for the first time in live action?
I was blown away, just utterly blown away. This character has existed now, 12 years or so in animation, in the Star Wars, in books and comics, and to actually see him translate on screen, and not just be translated on screen, but to have been done in such a way that, he's so realistic, he's sinister, he's scary. They really nailed it. I was elated to see him. I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, maybe Cad Bane's going to come along in the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian season 3. We got to see him at some point. And, I thought, that'd be cool. I don't know if they'd actually do it. And then, you see him walking from, hundreds of yards out in the desert. And, at first it's like, nah, I can't be. And then he gets closer. It's like, whoa, Cad Bane. Like, no way. And I mean, it just really worked. Like there you go, right there. It's just,
I see. Oh,
yeah, it was so good. He's so like threatening, and like you're saying, like Boba Fett, like, the most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy, he's always been referred to as. And then, this guy comes along and he's not playing games. Cad Bane, he means strictly business. And I was super elated to see him.
Definitely. And Cece, I noticed the scene that you were talking about that had you on the edge of your seat.
Yep.
Seeing Cad Bane, my heart was racing. Number one, you know what I mean? Cobb Vanth was like, telling everybody let everybody know, go inside and stuff like that. His stupid deputy, man, like it irked me. Like it irked
You
me.
knew he was gonna go.
Yes.
Yeah, we knew he
It's
was
always
gonna
the
die.
fidgety ones.
Yeah,
Right.
it's,
You know what I
Right,
mean?
first.
we knew he was out. It's like if when he said no, I'm not gonna leave you out here by yourself, I was like, yeah, he's gonna die. Like
Yep.
we already know that that's gonna be the victim. But to actually see Cad Bane on screen, in as menacing as he is, like how was it? How did you get it? How did you? I mean, because I know this point, this side of it was like crazy for you. How did you feel?
Well, just the title of this episode was, what was it, Stranger in the Desert? It was something related to this. Like, this is the stranger in the desert they're talking about, not Cobb Vanth, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
It was very the good, the bad, and the ugly. I love that you didn't see his eyes for the longest time, and it was almost frustrating how long they dragged it out. Where you see the teeth and you hear the voice, and that's kind of settling in, and you see the eyes, and you're like, whoa. But I do, it's funny. I've seen a lot of people say that it's a shame for those folks who didn't watch the Clone Wars to be introduced to this character, not knowing his backstory. I disagree. I think the way they did this, he means business.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know who he is,
If you don't have to know who he is,
you don't know he's a bounty hunter. I think he looked so menacing, creepy, those teeth, like those eyes, like you knew he had this presence as soon as he came. Like you saw him from a mile away and you're like, oh my gosh, like you knew what was happening, and you knew something bad was going to happen, whether you knew this was Cad Bane or not. So I think that even like novice watchers, like I think about my mom and a few friends of mine who didn't watch the Clone Wars, are still really going to enjoy the introduction of this new character, just because he looks so badass. Same thing with Black Coruscant, right? Like if people didn't read the comics, I think they still could appreciate what he looks like and the silhouette. So we've talked, I forget who it was, but someone said that Star Wars is great with creating those really iconic silhouettes that you could tell who they are a mile away. But I will say, I think my only criticism with him was that I thought the blue was a little pale. But him being like Victoria said, an animated character for 11, 12 years made me really hopeful for the future, because everyone knows my man is Thrawn. And I was hoping they weren't going to screw up that blue. And I'm like, this guy's a little too pale for me, but we'll see. Just and I appreciate what he said about Boba Fett, where it was like, well, Boba Fett sided with the Empire. You need to be concerned about the Syndicate.
Yeah.
And part of me was like, well, we know that Boba Fett was kind of freelance. He took jobs for the Empire often, but so did Cad Bane, didn't he? So I thought it was interesting that from the get-go, he was laying like a line in the sand where he's like, Boba and I might have history, bad history, whatevs, but it's even worse. Like I picked a side, it's not his side. So I think that kind of has me excited for this war that we're finally going to get, hopefully, in the next episode.
Yeah.
Exactly. When you saw that silhouette and that I mean the menacing, somebody brought it up, early Welch. When I saw this scene, it did take me back to, Clint Eastwood. Actually, it took me back to Clint Eastwood, Outlaw Josie Wells. I mean, come on, man. And when you think about Westerns, I mean, you think about all the classics, and the way they portrayed this, it was just like, I'm getting Star Wars, I'm getting the Western feel all mashed into one. Life fulfilled for me. But when you saw this and how menacing it was, what'd you think?
Well, I thought he was just going to kill everyone. I didn't think he was going to leave anybody in the town alive, because he's so fierce. He's so strong and powerful. And although we didn't see him get as mobile as he can, he can do anything. There's nothing, it seems, that Cad Bane can't do, and he can pursue a person for quite a long time. He has a lot of things that he can use to follow you. He knew a lot about Vanth. he knew he didn't have the armor anymore. You know, he knew that Vanth might, I guess, maybe wasn't going to back down. And I guess if that other guy hadn't been there, you know, Vanth would be completely, you know, would, I guess, be dead.
Yeah.
And Vanth is smart enough to just stay down. You know, don't get up. You know, maybe Cad Bane left after that. Who's to say? But you know, you're not walking out alive, or you're going to be his prisoner. And that's pretty much the end of the story. I don't see anybody really beating him, and I don't want anyone to beat him.
I don't think that's what I'm saying. Like they're not going to. We have to see this character again. Like I mean, you don't just bring him in for one episode and then have another episode where he dies. Nah. There has to be something that they're going to build up to. Vinny, seeing Cad Bane on screen, bro.
It's just another moment. I was up out my seat pacing, and I had my hand on my head. I was just like, no way. And as we seen the silhouette, it just got closer and closer. Cece made a great point about the fan, the casual fan, and their, you know, first interpretation of Cad, and how, to me, I feel like, as much as I love knowing so much about Star Wars going into these shows, this is an awesome first impression of Cad, because for me watching him in Clone Wars, he had to grow on me. He was kind of annoying at first to me, and then the more and more he succeeded in the things that he was trying to accomplish, including like heist after heist, you know, getting the better of Jedi and holding his own with Kenobi. Like it took me a few, you know, showings of what he could do before I was like, wow, Cad is not a joke. He's pretty great. And they got all that 7 seasons of Cad coolness into like one just iconic entrance. And they didn't just show him real quick. They did that slow pan. It was so methodical and so brilliant. And there was so much going on in this episode. But that pan up from his mouth, like curling up in anger, and then panning up. And it's like, are they going to do the eyes? Are they going to do the eyes? And then they do the eyes. And then just seeing how fast he was. And like you said, the deputy's dumbass is just like, yo, Cobb should have shot the deputy, because if it was, you know, Cad could have shot up the whole damn town out of anger for the deputy not listening. So shooting that deputy could have saved the whole town, because Cad could have killed them all, really.
Yeah, he could have.
I really liked Cobb showing in that too, because it was like, man, what better way to bring Cad into it than that showdown. And I definitely did notice, Cece, the lighter tone of blue, and just doing headcanon, I was like, I don't know, maybe that race gets paler as they get older, and or maybe the hue that they wanted for his hue, they did want that for Thrawn, and they wanted to like have it be different hues as possible. And also Clone Wars is very stylized, so they might have felt like, okay, we can't have this look exactly like him, because everybody's kind of like tweaked and stylized for the cartoon, so we want to try to do something to switch it up. And as opposed to changing up the face structure or character design, they just switched up the color palette. But either way, you got what was like the most important, and I'm glad they didn't just like make him more human looking or anything. We got Cad, and as everybody who knows just how badass he is, this is somebody who like definitely levels the playing field. Whoever Mando and Boba has to help him fight, it just got a lot harder for them. Because not just from a fighting standpoint, this is someone who clearly does their research. Like he's the strategist. He's not going into any fight that he can't win. He knows everything about what he does. I think that's what made him grow on me so much more so than like how good a fighter he is or his action sequences. It's just that he's like he's playing chess while everybody's playing checkers all the time.
Definitely. And might I mention that everybody out in the chat on the panel, the Cad Bane and the way he talks is exactly how Mark 7 sounds every day. That is how Mark 7 talks. Mark 7 talks exactly like Cad Bane. Literally. Y'all think I'm playing, but that's exactly how he has this cool, monotone, laid back swag. He sounds just like Cad Bane. So Cad 7. So Cad 7. So we got
to
what's up?
I was gonna say I'll speak to like what you guys say, you know, to people who haven't seen, all of the Clone Wars, because I have not finished the series, but I knew when when they showed him that pan, I knew that he meant business. And I was kind of taken aback by Cobb Vanth in the beginning. I'm like, okay, he's got a humble brag, a humble confidence to him. I kind of like the nonchalant, but I'm gonna take y'all three out, easily. But then to see Cad Bane, that energy was on a whole nother level. Like, it was super attractive, and it grabbed the scene in a way that I'm like, okay, I don't know who this guy is. I've never seen him before, heard of him or whatever, but he's not playing with them. So you guys are exactly right. You know what I mean?
You don't have to basically see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I can't wait to see him, because I know he's going to show up again.
Oh, show up at next scene. Next scene.
Yep.
Next season, next episode. Yeah, it's going down. We got a $10 super chat by Brother Cousins. He says, shout out to the world's diverse panel. Man, a wonderful diverse panel. This was one of the greatest moments in Star Wars history. You damn right. It was. It was definitely one of the greatest moments, man. Thank you for the super chat. We got DJ N, $1.99 super chat. I love combo stories. They are richer for it. Definitely. You're right. They are definitely richer for it, which leads me to the last thing that I want to actually talk about here. And probably the most important, like literally the most important. And we end this basically on the choice. Now, this right here was literally, in my opinion, one of the best scenes of the entire episode. We got what we wanted from Cad Bane. We got Luke. We basically got the exchange between Ahsoka and Luke. We got the exchange between Ahsoka and Mando. We got a chance to see basically the formation, the foundation of the new Jedi Academy. We know now that Grogu was meant to be one of Luke's first students. Now we see a choice. It's something that we didn't think. And this was this scene was extremely controversial, because people are always going to go back to what we know about Yoda, his confrontation with the Emperor, and how he lost his saber. But my pushback on that is, people have to also understand that, Jedi do build sabers. You know what I mean? They are able to basically build new sabers. So who's to say that he didn't actually just construct a brand new saber? Now, mind you, in canon and in the books itself, Dagobah has history, especially history for Yoda. History in a way that there were some dark times for him on Dagobah and things that he dealt with. If people basically go back and read some of those books, you'll know exactly why it was probably important at that time for him to have a saber in hand. So it wasn't like he couldn't have actually built a new one. He did. Like, it's just the way it was. Yep. But this was really, really like a pivotal scene. Like, that choice given to Grogu. Do you basically take the armor, or do you take the blade? If you take the armor, then you're choosing to go back with your master or your father in a sense, and no longer pursue the way of the Force, because now you have the detachment. Or you can take this saber, I can continue to train you, but you'll never see Mando again. Like, and that when the last thing he said was, what was it? A short period to you is a lifetime for someone else. You know what I mean? That was one of the dopest. Luke is dropping jewels, like for real, like he is, because that was a very pivotal scene. Before I actually go into questioning, I'm gonna start with you, babe. First, we got a 44.49 super chat by Superhero Displays. I'm from what America calls the projects in Britain. It's to the estate. Safe to say I don't shake easily. Cad Bane frightened the living shit out of me. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did all day. So thank you for that, man. Babe, this choice, because I know basically it touched the core to you when you actually saw it. What did you think about it?
Well, first of all, let me just say, like, choices from the interactions in The Mandalorian and now in Boba Fett, and they seem to mostly be attached to the female characters. Like when we see interactions with the armor, you know, when Mando goes and speaks to her, she's, you know, kind of telling him, educating him, kind of schooling him on the way, but she's also, you know, questioning him, right? And asking for, you know, asking him to decide in a non-judgmental way, just kind of laying it all out there and saying, this is the way, however, you have a choice. And we see the same thing with Ahsoka. It's just in the questionings, I mean, the questions that she was asking, you know, Mando about, you know, why he's bringing this gift and what are your intentions? And, you know, she's kind of not really judging him, but she's persuading him in a non-persuasive way through the questions, and giving him choices. And I love that about it. And I love that they're writing that the men are receptive to that and vulnerable enough to, you know, really sit and chew on them before they made their decisions. This, to see Luke give him this choice, one, I just think it's, you know, showing the maturity and evolution of his character and being able to, you know, not force things, as, you know, we've seen before, you know, the Yoda telling him basically to kind of calm down, and, you know, you have to kind of move with the force and kind of flow with things instead of forcing, and that is the way, right, with the force. So, and respecting that and setting aside really, you know, what he might want or think, like they're building this school, right, you know, in hopes to, you know, train more Jedi. You know, it's kind of like a posture thing. Here we are sitting in this building, like here, all of this is here, and being willing to give up his intention or want, as, you know, having Grogu as his first student, an opportunity, you know, and that just also goes to show that, you know, the whole attachment thing, and not necessarily being attached, is a pillar in, you know, the way of the force, I guess I could say. But I don't know, like Grogu was so cute when, you know, he showed him the armor, and then, you know, he goes to pick it up, and then Luke is like, well, wait a second, hold on, and he's like, what? Like, that was a cute part. But I don't I don't really, I think the story would be more interesting. Now I'm thinking of Robert Meyer Burnett when he was like, wouldn't it be cool if, but that he chooses the armor and somehow it becomes, I don't know, he just finds the balance between the two. I'm not really saying like how I see it in my head, but I don't know. We'll just have to see. I would love to see. Well, I don't know.
We'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yes, I mean it's a heavy moment. It's heavy on Grogu. He has a lot to think about. Just, you know, he's had these experiences with Luke and then the other Jedi, and seeing, like I said before, you know, these Jedi just kind of being killed off and what happened to them, but then Luke being this master and, you know, just showing his prowess and, you know, his strength. And then, you know, also with Mando. So I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. Real quick though, we got single songwriter. Remember, Luke also left Yoda to help his friends, and then he returned back to Yoda. I have a feeling Grogu will follow the same path as Luke did. And then we also got Max Geekdom, 16 Scale Man. This is more Luke's wanting to show Grogu that his choice has consequences and the outcome of those choices, but not forcing him to choose. Great points. Like, definitely some great points there. You know, so I do get that. Victoria, seeing this, you know, this final scene of the episode and the choice that was, you know, basically provided, how did you feel about that?
It was interesting. What is Grogu going to do? That is really hard to say. I'm kind of torn myself, what I'd rather him do. I have a feeling he's going to choose to go back with Din Djarin. But if that happens, I don't know that Luke's going to still not train him. I feel like there's a little bit more behind Luke's intentions that have been fully revealed. And, you know, there's still that story too of, you know, the first Jedi, there was a Jedi Mandalorian before. Why couldn't Grogu eventually become the same thing somehow? So it'll be really interesting. I'm really eager to see which way they go with it. But just the moment, just the way it was filmed and the sunlight coming in, and Grogu looking at these two different options, and it just to leave it like hanging there was pretty interesting, and yeah, I'm excited to see which way he goes.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. CC, this scene. What do you think? Well, first of all, CC, what do you think? What do you think Grogu's choice is going to be? Now, we know what the obvious choice is, but what would you want to see? What choice would you want him to make?
Man, what do I want him to do? Because I know what I think he's going to do, but what do I want him to do?
Mm-hmm.
I think I do want him to pick the armor versus the chainmail versus the Beskar versus the lightsaber. And the reasons why I think he will is because we talked about that flashback and his trauma. Mm-hmm. I think the two distinctions between the two choices, like the most obvious is one is for defense, protection, right? Armor. And then the other one's straight up a weapon. Mm-hmm. So I'm almost tempted to say that I hope he chooses the armor and kind of decides that the way of the Jedi is not for him, because everyone knows that the Jedi made a lot of mistakes. And with this being the choice, it was the fact that the Jedi did not have choices before. Like we saw, it's been a very long time since I watched the prequels last, so bear with me. But, like we saw Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan meet Anakin and pluck Anakin out of everything he knew, out of slavery. Mm-hmm. And they couldn't even buy his fucking mom out of slavery.
Yeah.
And that's traumatic enough. And then you everyone's surprised when years later he grows an attachment and he doesn't know what to do with it. Yeah. And just because there's Jedi before him that succeeded and were able to let everything go and not form attachments and not go to the dark side, it clearly didn't work for Anakin, the chosen one, theoretically, quote unquote, right? So I think with this, it's like, we know he has an attachment that's not conducive to Jedi. Ahsoka said it when obviously, like, she knows very well the effect on a Jedis have with attachments. Mm-hmm. So I think it's almost like concede at this point. Like, determine that based on the trauma and the fact that Grogu saw his kin in the Jedi hunted down because they were Force sensitive, because they were Jedi, I think he should not choose to pick up a weapon. I think he should choose the armor and everything he knows about the Mandalorian creed over the Jedi way. I have faith that Luke is sincere and wants to kind of create Jedi on a better path. Yeah. And of course we know what happens with that, but everyone's heart's in the right place. But I think that Grogu's story still lies with Mando. Now, if he chooses the lightsaber, I don't know what they're going to do, just because, like, I think it was very important when the armor chose Mando's sigil to be a Mudhorn. Yeah. That scene where I think that's where they bonded the most, because it was seeing Mando in danger is what caused Grogu to use the Force in the first time in God knows how many years in such a powerful way. Yeah. So I think you can't negate that kind of relationship so easily and just say that he's going to follow the prospects of a hopeful Luke. I think he's going to probably stick with what he feels safest with, and that's Mando. Yeah,
definitely.
I like that.
Yeah, that's hey, you can't take away from that. What do you basically think about what would you want to actually see? I mean, I know you want to. I pretty much almost already know what you would want to see, but what do you want to see?
Yeah, that's true. You know already, but to be honest with you, I think that the person that he's been spending a lot of time with, and not just maybe Ahsoka has been sort of there for a little while with Luke. They've been discussing, what Grogu will be doing with the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. And when Luke said, I don't think his heart is really in it, I think that was kind of an indication that, this may not be what Grogu is ready for right now. And, he has had so much training already. He's developing the moves like Yoda, right? He's clearly capable of doing anything. And the fact that he is aware that, he has limited time with Din, and the fact that Din, I think he can sense when Din is in trouble. And we spoke about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
I really do think he can sense it. It's going to be another Empire Strikes Back situation. He will leave. And, I think things are going to work out for him. And I think it was important for Luke to explain to Grogu everything. He needs a teacher who has that experience in this life as a Jedi. And it's okay to have a mentor like that. I think Grogu has gained so much by knowing Luke and being aware of what it means. Grogu probably being reminded of his past has now put into context, his ideas, that might have been actually for him like a rite of passage, just remembering something from 20 years ago. It was 20 years ago, and I think that he needed to have these events happen with Luke, with another Force user, so he can understand these feelings that he must have inside. Of course he feels conflicted. He called out to Luke on the Stone on Tython for a reason. He needed to get these answers from someone. And Ahsoka was not in a position to necessarily help him with this. And I think the reason why Ahsoka couldn't do it is because she's actively in the field helping people who are in distress, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She was fighting battles for people. She was helping other people out. She couldn't kind of pull herself away from that because that was important for her as an individual. So he knew she wasn't going to be able to give him the training. But Luke wants to pass the torch. He has a strong desire to teach and to create a community of Jedis. And so, not everybody can be a teacher, but Luke, he's a natural. He's a natural to this. And, he's brought out the best in Grogu. He's brought out the best in him. And no matter who Luke chooses and no matter what choice Grogu makes, he's all the better for having been with Luke, even if it was for a short period of time.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, what about it? With Ahsoka, we know that she's basically accepted the ways of the Force, but she's renounced the teachings of the Jedi because it's flawed. And she's basically seen it has actually been flawed. So she just kind of plays in the middle. And she's not even completely gray. You know what I mean? She's not a gray. She just basically falls in her own way. But at the same time, she knows that, for Grogu, he's, safer with Luke. That would basically be the way she sees it. But I think she knows deep down what choice he's going to actually make. Vinny, and before we actually go to you, Vinny, we got a $4.99 super chat by Superhero Displays. So gracious, man. Thank you so much for showing up. Luke has been exploring the galaxy, and I'm sure he found some stuff down the back of Yoda's sofa. I like that, bro. It could
be a training lightsaber because, there are training lightsabers as well. He had to have more than one lightsaber in 900 years.
Definitely. Vinny, the choice, bro. The choice, man. What do you think, bro?
The first thing that popped out to me is, like I mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, that one of my favorite films of all time is Shogun Assassin. It's a masterpiece. If anybody has not seen it, please watch it. It like the first 10-15 minutes, you'll see the scene that we've seen at the end of this episode with the samurai and the mom was killed and the little boy was going to have to go with him as he goes out into the world killing people, and he let the boy make the choice and put a ball and a sword on a carpet in front of him, got in his samurai gear, and let the kid crawl to whichever one. And if he crawled to the ball, he was going to kill him and have him join his mom in heaven. And if he joined the sword, he would join him on the road to hell to become an assassin for hire on the road. And that's how Lone Wolf and Cub starts out. And the lore of Star Wars has many, many, many Japanese samurai references from Akira Kurosawa, basically, inspiring Lucas to do all this in the first place. So this was a great homage to that. There was so much to digest here. A great thing was that Luke gave Grogu the choice. He didn't just say, he didn't hide the fact that he had a gift from Mando. He gave him a choice. Now, how much Grogu understands it is uncertain. It adds a lot to the mythos of the choice that we see a lot in Star Wars pantheon of attachment, because a lot of people have said, hey, it's not fair. Luke chose attachments all the time, and look what happened. I mean, he went to go save his friends after Yoda warned him not to, and his friends basically saved himself. All that happened after in the Empire was he lost a hand and almost died, and almost got his friends killed by having to come back to rescue his ass. Yoda told him, you will fuck everything up if you go.
Yeah.
Stop being so attached. Same thing with Anakin. He was warned, like, you gotta let your mom go. Now, Anakin was already almost 10. Luke was already a man when they started training. They were already old. It makes so much sense now. When I first heard it, it didn't. That meant the Jedi used to pick 3-year-olds, toddlers from homes, and train them, and it seemed so like evil because in a way that's what the Empire did with stormtroopers, right? But it was they wanted them in the system
Purest form,
before it's pure before they could and learn completely from birth their way, because it would be so hard as someone who's already formed. You know how like psychologists say, like, you are who you are by the time you're 5, right? So as someone who's a baby, if you're growing up in the Jedi system, you're more likely to be able to adapt to their ways, and it's so much harder for someone like Luke or Anakin. And then now Grogu, we don't know how their biology is, right? But he's 50, but he's also, at least a small child's, mental capacity. So he's already old enough to form attachments like he did to Jen, and because of the trauma that he's faced growing up. Yeah. But I feel like we'll see. I think the most telling thing in that speech that Luke gave was, your situation is a little different. You're going to outlive everybody. So attachments to you is going to be dangerous. To Grogu, what is that saying to him other than, I can spend years with Din Djarin and then just train to be a Jedi later when I get older. I mean, I'll find another Jedi maybe then, and I'm sure that is probably something that he may be thinking, like, this is the only opportunity I might ever have to spend, years or time with Mando. Whereas, if he, he could figure out a way to, learn how to use a lightsaber at any point, which, by the way, there was a book that explained that Yoda had a backup lightsaber in Dagobah. So Luke, I'm sure, just went back to Dagobah and just retrieved it. As I'm sure Disney, wants, Grogu in the Mandalorian verse. I think the only thing that leaves it up for grabs is the possibility, which I feel is unlikely. Like, if there was going to be a Skywalker show on Disney Plus, then Grogu would stay there. But I'm sure that unless they get Sebastian Stan or somebody, the budget to have that CGI for Luke on a whole show every week in, week out would probably be financially questionable at the very least. So I'm not sure if they'll do that. So I'm sure it seems more likely that we'll just see Grogu return to Mandalorian, which I would always kind of want it, but I just didn't want it so soon because I wanted Grogu to train with Luke at least long enough. I never expected Grogu to become a full-fledged like Jedi like he was, but I wanted Grogu to train with Luke long enough to at least not be a liability. Because in the first couple seasons of Mandalorian, he was kind of like an NPC. It was like a non-playable character. You always had to worry about getting in trouble or shot or killed, because even though he had powers, it was inconsistent. And then if you used him, he passed out. Like, he was always, Mandalorian always had to protect him and worry about if he was going to get hurt. And that's really hard way to be a bounty hunter if you got to constantly worry about a toddler. So
childcare issues.
It's a big liability. So I kind of wanted him to train with Luke a little bit longer than this. It's yet another reason why I wish that it was a few seasons before we got to see Grogu again. So that way when they did team up, it meant more maybe. And then if he rejoined Grogu, which they didn't put a damn baby Yoda seat in his new ship for no reason. So I'm sure he's going to, but I kind of wanted to see him be more able to defend himself by the time he rejoined with Mando. So I feel like it's a no-brainer that he's just going to join Mando. But I would have loved to see him, be, especially with Kylo is supposed to be the first student, right? So I mean, Grogu can't be.
Yeah.
But
this is true. It's
a lot to digest from that scene. It's very heavy. It's crazy that we got so much from this one app of book of Boba Fett.
They unloaded a lot, but again, like you said, like we already mentioned, it is called Book of Boba Fett for a reason. So they're just laying it out there real quick. We got a 49 super chat from Superhero Displays. Given Dave Filoni an understanding of Luke, real Luke, not Rick Skywalker, can you imagine if he was in the charge of the sequels? Yeah, I mean, hey, it's the possibilities are endless. But like I said, everything it has its place. So, guys, I mean, we've had a great discussion tonight, man. Like literally, I did really enjoy this discussion and deep diving into the episode. I cannot wait for next week. I literally have no speculations whatsoever. And I'm just happy.
Insight. I want to drop it right here. I have insight that I want to spoil for everybody.
What's up?
I heard that next week there's going to be a Boba Fett cameo. You heard it here first.
That's unbelievable. I don't believe it.
Wow.
I'm sorry to spoil it.
We'll have to see.
Maybe he'll actually wear the helmet.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're only going to be on screen for 2 seconds when you have the helmet on, just to be like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You weren't even going to talk. Why?
I don't know.
It's frustrating.
We'll see. I mean, look, there's going to have to be a payoff either way. I mean, we
I don't want to
can't.
hear anything about he wants to be able to act better, because when I just want to see, he's right there. He did that acting with a damn helmet on was better than most of the acting we've seen in anything.
Exactly. So I don't know.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is Max Rebo still alive?
Yeah, he wasn't in
survived
the
sail
cantina.
barge,
He wasn't there.
and he wasn't at the bar.
I think he's in with. I think he's in on behind the scenes dirt, because he always finds a way to not be there when something goes down.
Yeah.
So
he's like he knows.
He's there's watch that character.
It's like the Pikes were probably like, this is not where you want to be.
Yeah. He
We're just
told
letting
them.
you know, I'm just saying.
Yep.
Or Max Rebo is from the estates, like superhero displays, and he just has that spidey sense, like some shit's gonna go down.
He could
I better
He could be.
I'm out. I want no parts of
the
it.
Max Tingle.
Exactly. I'm out. I'm definitely out.
His nose starts to move.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Get out of here.
He's like, I'm out. Guys,
if he survived, though, he's gonna need a pretty darn good therapist.
He is, right?
Happening to me?
It's because everywhere he goes, it gets blown up. He just sees explosions everywhere. He's like, yo, I just want to play the damn piano. Like,
That's
what the hell?
That's
That's all I want to do. Like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? Like, everywhere I go, let me get off of Tatooine. I just got to get off of Tatooine. I don't want to be here anymore, man. Just let me get off. I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this next episode, we see him appear and be like, Mando, I don't care how much it costs. You have a seat. It's empty. Or I'll sit in there with Grogu. Please get me off this plane.
He's gonna be on the street. He's gonna be on the street with the tip hat. He's like, I ain't going to no more establishments.
I want to see like a Stan Lee kind of montage of just random shit happening around Max Rebo.
Right?
You just see like things, just random things blowing up.
Yep.
Like he's
Max.
minding his business all the time, and just like this
I love that.
catastrophic things are happening. That'd be hilarious. He's a new Stan Lee cameo.
It's like, yo, I'm not taking any more contracts. No, I'm not playing in any other. Like, take me to Coruscant, somewhere else.
Yep.
This is not where I'm supposed to be, straight up. So anyway, guys, look, thank you for actually being a part of the show tonight. It's been a great show. I want to thank everybody out in the chat as well. Victoria, let everybody know where they can actually find you or what you got coming up.
For sure. So thank you, Leo. Thanks to everybody here. It's great interacting with you guys and talking, and been a blast. So the channel is Victoria's Cantina. We've been on YouTube for 9 years now. And I do Star Wars stuff. So Black Series, Vintage Collection. Every now and then we'll get a Hot Toys figure in there. It just depends.
Yeah.
So very focused on Star Wars. I do some random odds and ends too. Like I'll do some DC every now and then, or some dinosaur stuff. So all over the place. We have the Cantina Cocktail Hour every Friday night. It's a live stream at 8 p.m. Pacific time. This week we have a mutual friend on. Aries Tarrington's going to be with us.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. And Cantina Chatter podcast, the Vintage Collection podcast, anywhere you get podcasts are available. I'm on Instagram at Victoria's Cantina and on Twitter at Vic's Cantina.
Thank you. Definitely thank you for that. Yes. So if you haven't already, subscribe to Victoria's Cantina on IG and YouTube. Great content. Been in the game, for a while. So, listen, if you haven't already, I'm so glad she graced us with her presence tonight. So thank you for that. Latoya T, tell everybody where they can actually find you.
Oh, look, I was just subscribing to Victoria's channel. Well, you guys can find me on Facebook as Latoya T, and on Instagram as the Coco_Tulip or at the Coco Tulip. That is my online fashion boutique page, which is www.thecocotulip.com. Right now, we're having our Black History Month sale each week, where select items will be on sale. We have a couple pieces that will be nice for the ladies to wear for that night out on Valentine's Day. So take a look. We're also throwing up some highlights of just some Black excellence in my personal world on the site throughout the month. But that's where you can find me. I'm not going to say anything yet, but we have some other things attached to Coco Tulip in the making, and hopefully within the next few weeks we'll just be announcing those and sharing those with you guys. I love it here. I love you guys. I learned so much. You guys are so welcoming. I tell Leia all the time how excited I am to just kind of hear from you guys, learn from you, watch you, and all of that. So just happy to share, this moment and any moment and just the things that I have going on with you guys. So
Definitely.
that's it.
So glad to have you. So glad you agreed to come on to the show tonight. And thank you for the help in putting this together. So yes, it's been great. Cece, what's up? Tell everybody where they can actually find you and what you have going on.
So, but I am going to have to subscribe to Victoria's channel because dinosaurs, that's an untapped market for me. And I love Jurassic Park, so I'm definitely going to have to check that out. And despite what I'm wearing, I know I don't look like I follow fashion, but I do love fashion. So I'm going to have to give Latoya a shout too and check out that sale because I love a sale because Star Wars takes a lot of my money. So the channel is called Rogue 16. Okay. And we're on YouTube, Instagram. We also have a Facebook group. So we just talk about how we blow our money on expensive Star Wars stuff, including art prints like this, helmets like those. And we are going to have, I think our next show is going to be Saturday in the afternoon. So it's kind of like our European UK show for all of our folks across the pond who, can't deal with the ungodly hours of our normal shows. And then Wednesday morning, we're obviously going to be watching the last episode of the Book of Boba Fett live. So if you want to check that out at an ungodly hour, make it worthwhile for us to be getting up early. We call it Shelter in Space. And we're going to continue it for Obi-Wan as well. So I'm hoping we get a badass episode next week too.
Oh my God, please. Yes, we need it. I can't say it enough. We basically need that, but I think we'll get it. If you haven't already, come on, man. You know what time it is. CC3PO, Rogue 16, YouTube IG. Come on, great content. So glad to have her here. And everybody loves you out in the chat. So definitely we thank you for basically being here. So tell us basically what you actually have going on or what you have coming up here pretty soon.
Yes. Well, I have my own YouTube channel called Positive Fandom. Yes. And I also stream live on Twitch. It's one word, Positive Fandom. On Monday nights, you can find me streaming with Lorena Creole on Toxic Femmes. On Wednesdays and Thursdays, if it's the way that the schedule works out, I'm lucky enough to be on the 1/6 scale man network on either Say What or a great show like this, Uncivilized Scoundrels.
Yes.
On Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can find me on Midnight's Edge in the Morning with Andre Tom and Cameron Pasha. On Friday nights, you can find me on the Burnett Network with Lael, Robert Meyer Burnett, on our Midnight Meta Show. And on Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I stream live with my Sunday brunch show. And I just talk about whatever we want to talk about on that show. It could be Star Wars or any other IP. So please check it out. And that's what's going on with me.
Pick up the work ethic, or I don't know. I don't know. I got to get more going.
Making us all look lazy, my God.
Yo, she always working, like straight up. Like there's always some work to be done. So shout out to that all day, every day. Vinny, come on, man. Let everybody know what's going on over there at Vincent Dunn Art, bro.
Yeah, man. I've been just having a blast drawing on these great Star Wars characters, and I have a whole bunch of other like Marvel and DC projects that I just keep pushing back because the show is just like bombarded my art table. So you can get any of the pieces that I've done so far, if they're not on the site, they will be soon. And you could check out the store site at vincentdunnart.storeenvy.com. And then I have a IGR page at Vincent Dunn Art where you'll see anything that will be soon coming to the site. And of course, if there's anything that that isn't on the site yet, but you see it posted on IG, it might just be because I just haven't had prints made up yet. But everything on my IG will be eventually on the site. And if there's anything you need me to hold, just inbox me, tell me that you're from the shows, and I'll be happy to hook you up for sure. There's always deals going on the site, and as always, it's buy two get one free on the site. And I look forward to hooking anybody up with anything that they need as far as that goes. Otherwise, I'm the lazy one of the bunch. You could see me on Leo's Monday show, Comic Talk with Friends, and here on Thursday nights with Uncivilized Scoundrels. And in between that, I'm hibernating in winter mode, just doing a lot of catching up on reading and drawing and enjoying all the great content from my panel here. You guys are awesome.
Definitely, man. And I must say, we have been dreaming about doing something like this for the longest time, many years. And it's good to actually talk about it so long. So just imagine how I feel to have one of my best friends on a show. You know what I mean? And we can do something like this and talk about stuff that we've loved for so many years.
We've spent many hours outside of theaters into the middle of the morning talking after a movie or a show. And it's really cool to be able to share that with everybody who's, enjoying it and make that a worldwide conversation.
Definitely.
Well, let's talk about you. What do you have going on?
I'm going to talk about that in a second. We got Ashley Chase here with a $7.99 super chat. Thank you for coming through. Max Rebo will start doing concerts. He might as well. You know what? They should even have if Lucasfilms were smart, they would release an entire Max Rebo CD or whatever just for the holidays. It would be crazy. Definitely they, something like that would go off. I'd be on board for that every day, all day. But yeah, straight up when it comes to the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel, you know where it is. Follow us on the channel if you haven't already. We have Comic Book Talk with Friends. Actually, no, this Sunday we have Take Your Position, special episode of Take Your Position, where it's going to actually be Marvel versus DC. So we're going to be posing up Marvel characters against DC characters. So it's going to be a mashup. I can't wait for that. So stay tuned for that. I'll be putting up the details probably later on tonight or tomorrow. Probably later on tonight because I don't sleep. Anyway, she'll tell you I don't. On Mondays, again, you'll see us back here on Comic Book Talk with Friends. We're going to be continuing on with our theme for the month, African American, or actually black superheroes in general. So it will encompass that. So yes, we're going to continue on with that theme. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be exciting. Also, you can catch me on Justin's show, which is Justin Collections, on Tuesday nights as well. Wednesday, Say What, where we talk everything collectibles, from 1/6 Scale collectibles, statues, whatever. Victoria, I would love to have you on there sometimes to talk about, because here's the thing. What do we think about? And that's the one thing. When we actually watch these episodes of Boba, I'm sitting back the entire time. Hot Toys figures of Cad Bane, Cobb Vanth, you know what I mean? A new updated version of Luke, because that was a totally different Jedi robe that he actually had on. So I hope we actually get that. I hope we get a 2-pack between him, R2, and Grogu as a side piece. So I can't wait for that. So yes, come on, man. All day, every day. This is what we think about. So yeah, exactly right. So and just imagine this one episode with that one scene. How many 501st figures were sold within the last couple of days? Certainly, people are army building right now. But yes, you can actually check us out on the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel, and on Say What on Wednesday nights, and then back here for Uncivilized Scoundrels next Thursday. Now, I don't know. Everybody in the chat, let us know. Hit us up, message, let us know whether or not you want us to do a watch, whatever. We'll do that. Or if basically, we just come back for the regular show and just talk about what we know. And if it's a climactic episodes and if it's exciting, we'll definitely do that. So I cannot wait. But again, thanks everybody for basically being here. I enjoy the company. I enjoy having these guys here. I mean, this is everything that I dreamed about. I always love being on these episodes and love doing these live streams with everybody. So thank you so much for being a part of this.
No, thank you. And I'm going to say
Sure.
thank you for everybody, because
Yeah.
like just watching you, and I know this is your, your thing and your dream, and Vinny, you can attest to it, but just watching you start, you know what I mean, from that, joining someone else's stream to one stream a week to now, like you're streaming, if not on your channel, with someone else every day. Just giving every, other people a platform, just all the work that you do. Like, and I see everything behind the scenes. I have to give this man his flowers. Like,
Indeed.
no, seriously, like
Thank you so much.
it's amazing to watch. It's really admirable. It's sexy as hell. So, no, seriously, but I'm sure that the community appreciates you, and
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
It's amazing to see.
Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm here for everybody. And the ladies put on tonight. The ladies have put on like ever. It's like, yo, it's always a hold my beer moment with the ladies. Like they just like, you know what? Yeah, Vinny, Lael, just move on side. We just gonna have a discussion. We're gonna take y'all to places that y'all ain't never been before. So just sit back, relax. Victoria, CC3PO, and Latoya T said, you know what? We got this. Like literally, we got this. So yes. And I knew the night would not end without. I wish he would send me them beats though.
Classic.
Toya, he said, yeah. Send me them beats, motherfucker.
Man, listen. Shout out to
Get in line,
everybody in the
Mark.
chat.
Get in line.
I know. Mark 7 the issue, but she sees what goes on behind the scenes, and it's hard work every single day. But anyway, Mark 7 the issue. Thank you for basically being here. M1, what is that? Nwamia? Can somebody say this for me, please? Is that
Anumia?
and a woman? Yes.
Anumia, yeah.
Anumia. I love
Anumia.
Anumia.
Hi, Anumia.
Hold up. That's Maya. That's Maya. Thank you for coming through. Yes. Thank you for coming through. We got to get you on this show sometimes. Yes.
I
She's
left her song
definitely
with Praz.
right. She's definitely a Star Wars fan. So thank you for actually coming through. We'll see. Thank you for coming through. One Punch Man, always for being here. Let's see here. Single songwriter Ashley Chase. I Am Legend. 0000. We got Tom Jr. Jackson in the building. Thank you for hearing. It's Philip the Fool. Let's see here. Tobar. We have, let's see, who else? Single songwriter. What is that? Rudolfo Aguila. Thank you for basically being here. We have MB Dyson 82997. Thank you for basically being here. As always, we have I Am a Legend. We have, let's see here, Bloodsport. Thank you for basically being here. As always, Kate Carter 27, Philosopher King. Thank you for coming through, man. Definitely for coming through. Let's see here. Who else we got? Who else do we have? Come on, man. We got so many people. MC, thank you for basically being here. The Carbo 56, thank you for actually being here. Mikey Lito, thank you for coming through. Mikey Lito, we actually see him every Friday night on Midnight Meta. So thank you for being here. Toy Box, thank you for coming through as always. Let's see here. Who else we got? Superhero Displays. Oh man, thank you for being here, supporting the channel always. The Russian Bot, thank you for wasting my time, your time, and everybody's time when you actually come through. I'm pretty sure you just love doing what you do, and we welcome it because we don't know what the hell you're saying.
Yeah, I was like, does that mean anything? Because we've been seeing like a lot of three-letter sequences like that.
I think in Russian, they're trying to tell us that Boba Fett's going to show up in the next episode.
Probably.
I beat him to the spoiler, so you're late, Russia.
Yeah,
Probably.
they already let us know.
They already let us know. One Punch Man. Right? Malachi Mabane, my guy, thank you for coming through as always. My guy, every week. We had Brother Cousins coming through as always. 6 Scale Mafia, Partay Animal, thank you for being here every week. Let's see here. Candace Rufus Lupus, thank you for coming through. I love these names, man. Let's see who else we got. Just a few more, and then we're actually going to close out here. Charlie the Unicorn, thank you for coming through as always. Let's see who else. Yeah, man. One more. I think we're gonna actually get here unless we have already gotten it. Cuervo 383, yes. And yes, man, look, if I haven't mentioned your name, as
Amber
always.
was in here too. Shout out Amber.
Was Amber in here? Shout out to
was.
Amber. Amber, thank you for coming through. Amber, we got to get you on this show. I know you, you know, Vinny's teaching you, so definitely we got to get you on here to represent for the lady.
she's in the Padawan stage too.
Exactly. So we definitely got to have you going on there. Shout out to that Grogu and Luke poster behind you. And you know, CC.
You saw the other one, right?
Hold on. Let me go back. Let me see it real quick. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. See, there we got it. The shrine. Ladies bringing the shrine, and then let's check this out. CC, she got that poster back there. I'm telling you.
Nice.
Come on, man. I need that.
Well, Jason in the chat, I forget his last name, but Jason, we had talked about it in the last week's episode. He'd asked me who the artist was, and I told him, and he got his today.
Yeah,
nice.
Yes,
so I appreciate that I'm enabling people all the time.
We're all enablers, right? It's part of it.
Yes, basically. And let's see what Victoria. I see that BB-8 back there.
Yes.
I come on, man. We see Mando back there with Grogu. Oh, who else we got? Okay. I see Harley Quinn back there. So there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
There we
go. Like a life-size BB-8, right?
Right. Come on.
Great.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I gotta step my game up.
See,
I gotta
this is why
have to make some room for me in the basement to hang my prints, okay? So I can.
We got you. Hold up, but show them the jacket. Show them what you got on the jacket, though. Come on, can we show them the jacket?
Well, fun. I got Mando right here.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Nice.
And I have Ahsoka. Got Ahsoka and
there you go.
And the armor.
The armor right there. There you go.
Yes. Love my pins.
There you go. See,
it's a great jacket.
Got a bunch of them.
Come on. I'm telling you, the ladies came to play. They are representing. Man, look, it is what it is all day. Anyway, thank you guys for coming through and being a part of this episode. Until next week, I mean, come on. May the force be with y'all. And as always, stay uncivilized. Let's go.
So uncivilized.